Your brother Kenny Wallace, right? Qualified 12th for tonight's race, and how he sounded on his communication earlier today here in Phoenix.
No, just a little tight in 1 and 2, but the second lap I was better. Really good in 3 and 4. We're going to win. We're going to win the race. Just get the adjustments out of them. Let's go.
And his Stacker 2 Ford, a little confident there. Right?
That's a lot of confidence, and he's right. I'd say most of the guys out there, they didn't have any grip in the first lap, and once the tires heated up and they got the grip back, their second lap was much, much better. So that's what Kenny felt. But he must be very, very confident from yesterday's practice session and what he did in qualifying today. So it's hard to beat confidence going into it.
Well, it's always good to have confidence, and at the same time, it looks like his team is coming together, guys.
The confidence runs in the Wallace family. So you're going to hang and watch with us from the Hollywood Hotel for a little bit.
Oh,
right?
I've got to. I got to see the first couple laps of the race.
Check out your Top Flight Dodge. It's the Super 8 pre-race program here in Phoenix. And we're going racing here on FX as we count you down to the start of the race. Don't go away.
Phoenix, Arizona, the Valley of the Sun, and the sun beat down here yesterday at 90 degrees plus. But tonight, it's nice and cool for the NASCAR Busch Series on FX. It's been overcast with temperatures in the low 80s. It's really been nice here in Phoenix, where 6 Busch Series races have produced 6 different winners. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy with Darrell Waltrip and Larry McReynolds. But, Darrell, it's twilight time. What's that mean for the driver?
Well, what it means is, you know, this is a pretty short race, Mike. I mean, it's only a couple hundred miles. There's a chance I can make this race in one stop. So if I'm up front, I better stay up front. If I'm in the back, I'm going to have to hustle. I'm going to have to kind of slip and slide and shove my way up through there if I have any chance at all to win this race.
So, Larry, who's got winning experience in this race?
Well, as you said, 6 races, 6 different winners, but only 2 previous winners are in the field. And ironically, they're starting side by side on row 10, Greg Biffle and Jamie McMurray. Short race, they have their work cut out for them, but keep an eye on a man that has experience winning here. Tony Stewart won a cup race here back in 1999, and he's starting up near the front.
All right, on a beautiful evening here in the West, let's go trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as we introduce our Air National Guard 162nd Fighter Wing Color Guard from Tucson, Arizona to present our nation's colors. And please remain standing for BIR Chaplain Ken Bowers, who will deliver our invocation.
Join me in a moment of thanksgiving and prayer, please. Our Heavenly Father, we are so grateful that we can gather here this evening for the inaugural running of the Bashas 200 Series and the NASCAR Busch Series. Our appreciation is extended to you for the beautiful Arizona evening that will soon become dusk, and then we'll see the racing under the lights. Now may you grant us safe racing for every driver, crew member, official, and we are most especially grateful for the many, many wonderful fans who make their way here to our beloved Phoenix International Raceway each and every time. And it is in your name we pray, and everyone says together, Amen.
And for our national anthem, please welcome multi-platinum recording artist and former lead singer of the group En Vogue and Lucy Pearl, Miss Dawn Robinson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs burst
Set to go racing on a beautiful balmy night in Phoenix, Arizona. Darrell, like all the NASCAR Busch Series races, this is an impound race. You qualify, you line them up, they introduce the drivers, and let's go race.
Yeah, and that's kind of good news because you won't have to worry about making a lot of changes. You practiced on race setup, you qualified on race setup, you should be good to go. That should mean that it's going to be a good race and not all in the pits, all on the track is what I like.
Short race and not a lot of time to make adjustments. One, maybe two pit stops, maybe three. How about the gamblers, Larry? How are they going to approach this?
I guarantee you there'll be some gamblers at the end of the race. All year long we've been seeing if you did not have fresh tires at the end of the race, you were in trouble. You were going to get beat. But this is a tire very similar to what we ran last year. I guarantee you people late in the race, if they have enough fuel to go to the end, they will stay out on those older tires for track position and roll the dice.
1 week ago, in the NASCAR Busch Series, Kasey Kahne went to victory lane. And he's up front again tonight. Sun in the driver's eyes as you have a look at the starting lineup for tonight's race on FX. But it's twilight time. First three rows inside, all Cup drivers, outside all Busch regulars. We'll see how that plays out.
Plot thickens.
As we go trackside to Matt Yoakum.
6 Busch races here at Phoenix, Mike Joy, and 6 different winners. The last guy to go to victory lane here, Jamie McMurray. Now, he won last year 3 different times with 3 different car owners, and you talked a lot about how this team has come together for Rusty Wallace, and also about the sun here. Now, Jamie says the car was good in final practice, a little iffy in qualifying. He's already taken off his tinted tear-offs off his visor. Sun not a problem here tonight, could be tomorrow night. Look for this team to have a very solid run tonight as he tries to become back-to-back winners here at Phoenix. Jeannie Zalasko.
Well, name a series, any series. Tony Stewart's probably raced in it, probably won at it here, except in the Busch Series. He says he knows every inch of this track except from behind the wheel of a Busch car. Last time we saw him, remember, he was singed at Texas when his engine blew. He said he is okay. But, of course, remember, he was burned on a Saturday by Stanton Barrett. So you better believe he will be trying to avoid the 36 car tonight. Tony Stewart enjoying this track, ready to make his mark in the Busch Series. Well, let's go trackside and get this thing going.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Johnny Basha for those most famous words in motorsports.
John, start your engines!
Ready to roll on the 1 mile, oddly shaped oval in Phoenix. Let's go back down to pit road for breaking stories. Steve Burns.
Thank you very much, Mike. Folks, you may have just heard Kenny Wallace tell his crew after his qualifying run, we're going to win the race. He's been to victory lane 9 times, but it's a victory drought of 78 races. He hasn't won since Rockingham in 2001. I said, Kenny, the pressure's on. We heard you on TV. He said, ha, I like that kind of pressure. I'm going to win the race. Let's go to the editor of Speedway Illustrated magazine, Dick Berggren.
Well, Kasey Kahne is hotter than the desert sunshine at midday. Last week in Texas, he doubled his win total in the NASCAR Busch Series, winning for the 2nd time. And today, he won the pole for the 4th time in his career. There had been, however, significant concerns about the radio in car number 6 that will start on the pole. They have gone to the backup channel. They just checked it, and so far, all's well.
We usually see Kasey Kahne in the 38. Tyler Walker on board that car tonight. Kasey Kahne in the Ray Evernham number 6. Pretty nice late arriving crowd here at Phoenix as we get set to go. Biffle rocks Phoenix all the way from Vancouver. And it's a balmy night. It's a beautiful night.
The thing about it, look at this track temperature right here, 81 to 87 degrees. That's already about 15 to 20 degrees cooler than what we had qualifying today and even what we had yesterday in practice.
83.9. How warm is it in the Hollywood Hotel, Chris?
We always have the temperature just right. That's what Rusty was telling us. All right, so it was sunny yesterday, overcast now. You'll be racing tomorrow night, but what would concern you tonight as a driver?
The thing that's going to concern me tonight is what is this track going to do? Because generally when it cools down, the track gets cold, the track goes tight. But it's not doing that right now. Last night in practice, we were still loose. Just had total overall grip. What I want to know, and what a lot of crew chiefs and drivers want to know, what's going to happen here tonight? Because we've never raced here at night. This is going to be an education, this Grand National race is tonight.
So what you're trying to say right now is that a lot of the drivers, a lot of the crew chiefs that will be racing tomorrow night will probably be here at the track watching what's going on.
If they're not watching Fox tonight, they might not have the inside scoop for tomorrow.
And Russ, you'll be watching close as the crews get ready. Russ, thanks for hanging out with us. Enjoy the race, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks a lot. I'm going to my perch right now and get ready.
Yeah, and there's your counterpart you got to go up against tonight, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Mark Truex. Car owner versus car owner, driver versus driver.
But with that camo hat, hopefully we won't see him tonight.
Mike, Larry, Darrell.
Carl Edwards' crew getting ready.
I love it when the teams get together like this, Larry, and I mean, they get all pumped up. They are just as excited as that driver is.
As you say, they might have but a couple of chances to get it right on pit road during a pit stop.
But I think this is one race I would have, if I was a Cup driver, I would have gotten me a ride in this race tonight for the experience.
The pole sitter has finished in the top 10 in 5 of the 6 races here. That's our Stacker 2 track fact. As we're getting set for a start, a couple of cars to the rear. Michelle Jourdain engine change. The 28 driver change. Derek Cope in for Jimmy Kitchens. Unapproved adjustments to Jeffrey Bodine's car and that of A.J. Fike. They go to the rear.
32 car was on pit road with Shane Mill.
He had to go to the rear of the field as well for unapproved adjustment. See Ray Evernham, the owner of the car sitting on the Busch pole, driven by Casey Kane. 200 laps, 200 miles, 1 mile racetrack. Pit road speed, a little unique pit road here. Goes all the way through turn 1 and 2 on the inside, 45 miles per hour. DW, you talked about maybe one pit stop, 85 to 95 laps on fuel. A few caution laps, might try to stretch it and do it on one stop.
I think you can do it. I think you can.
You can if you can just tune out that driver screaming for tires when the caution comes out.
I don't think that's going to be an issue, Mike.
Okay.
And because this is last year's tire, the right side is. And I think this tire is going to be durable. I think you're going to see guys be able to stay out on this tire tonight.
I think, as Larry said, we'll see some interesting strategies and some roll the dice behavior for track position should we get cautions. Well, it's Friday night. We're on FX. We're under the lights.
You got it, buddy. DW, short race, but we're under the lights Friday night. Reach up there and pull those belts tight. One more time. Let's get her done.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
In that 20 car stuck on the high side. Looks like he got a good bite up there, though.
Yeah, a lot of times, Larry, as we said before, everybody's fighting for the bottom. Sometimes you can make some really good passes around the outside if your car will stick up there early in the race.
3 prior Busch races, 1 Cup race, and right now is the first time Casey Kane has led at Phoenix in a NASCAR car.
Darrell, this racetrack is plenty wide. You see these flat corners here, but you have to be so careful running side by side off the corner because the car wants to go to the outside if you're on the inside.
Yeah, she'll boot scoot on you. You got to watch out for that.
Menard moves up the outside to secure 3rd. Yaley, the 18, 4th. Hamlin in the 20, battling him.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of different lines in 1 and 2, but around the 3 and 4 where they are right now, the bottom is usually the way to go.
That's where Carl Edwards is in the 60 as he goes to work on Hamlin for 6th place.
That's pretty much what happens right there is you win the battle side by side off turn 4, and you pretty much can beat them into turn 1. But it looks like Denny Hamlin and the 20 cars are riding with Kevin Harvick. Looking at that red and white car, got a good bite on the high side off.
When you come off a turn 2 high like that, you are going to pull away from the guy down on the bottom because he's all bound up down there trying to stay off of you. You get the great run off the corner like you do at other speedways, and you really shoot down that back straightaway.
Of the drivers who started in the back due to changes, adjustments, Michel Jourdain up to 33rd, Shane Wheel to 35th. And here's Truex battling side by side with Johnny Sauter, 9th place. And Sauter snares that spot behind Elliott Sadler.
See Michael Waltrip in the 99 car right here side by side with the 0 car for Curtis Davis. That's a battle right now for 23rd.
And that third turn is where you get in trouble, going in side by side there, because it's hard to hold it low and down on the bottom when you go into turn 3.
You know, great qualifying effort for that white 0, the Race Girl Chevrolet Curtis Davis. He started this race 16th and out-qualified a whole lot of better funded, more experienced teams. Great job.
And somewhat holding his own right now. Now, we talked at the top of the show about row 10, especially Greg Biffle in the 66 car. We see him right here. He started in 20th, already 6 laps. He's already working on the back of Kenny Wallace for the, or actually David Strimmy for the 11th position. So 10 spots in 5 laps. And his car was very loose qualifying, but we felt like, and he felt like that would be just right for tonight when the track cooled down.
Oh, Biff likes to get it back there amongst them. He likes to have somebody to race with. Thinks it's cool passing all those cars and getting to the front. Whoa, round goes 4.
Not like that. Biffle's around.
Wow.
Keep digging there. Keep digging. Keep digging. Good job. Keep going.
He never hit anything.
No damage. Just keep going. Good job.
Not going to lose all that many spots.
Hey guys, left front skirt just a little bit. I got the curb. 4 tires.
What he's talking about, Darrell, on the backstretch where he went through the grass, there's almost like some rumple strips over there, and it looks like maybe he bit the left front valence. You can see it right there.
Yeah, there's the dog leg back there, or the kink. And as you come to that kink, if you happen to hit those rumble strips, he just gets around all by himself. He was loose qualifying, Larry, and guess what? He's still loose.
We just had heard his radio transmission. You can see right there when the car bounced up in the air, that's when he hit those strips over there, that he was pretty loose, pretty free, he said.
Right here, that's where you get in trouble down that back. Well, actually right there where the yellow starts.
Looking back from David Strimmy. And from Kenny Wallace.
850, leader 18.
Rumble strips are there to prevent drivers from shortcutting the dogleg in the middle of the back straightaway and tossing dirt or stones up on the following cars.
Yeah, that's what used to happen. We'd drop our left wheels in there, and then it would knock dirt and rocks out on the racetrack, and they'd have to throw a caution to clean it up. So they put the rumble strips in, and now it hurts your car more than anything.
We're seeing Greg Biffle in the 66 car make that pit stop for tires, repairing that valence. We're seeing a few others. Boston Reed in the 5. Looks like Steve Grissom in the 49. Derek Cope in the 28. A few cars that were at the back of the field anyhow.
Now, it's a tricky pit road here with coming around the turn like that, Dick.
4 tires going to go on Biffle's car. Crew Chief Newt Moore has told the crew to take their time and do it right. Damage to the valence is minimal. You can see it on the left front corner. Crew member now pulling that valence back out again, trying to get it squared away. That's very important. That keeps the air from flowing underneath the race car. Really important to handling and speed to keep the air out from under.
Biffle's spin only cost him 7 positions on the racetrack. The pit stop will put him at the back of the field.
Plan together for repairs. Now back on lap 10, Clint told his team the car was a little loose, but they expected it to come back to him as the laps started to wind on and wear got on those tires, but it didn't snug up enough, as you saw. Now they've just got a lot of problems. This team came into Phoenix 3rd in the championship standings. He's having a good year so far. Now they're going to have to try to bounce back from this early wreck.
Watch the extreme right side of your screen and you'll see Clint Boyer come into view backwards.
Yeah, he just come off the corner there. Very similar to what Bethel did. And the car got loose. He didn't have a lot of room there. The car started taking evasive action, and the 12 got into him. The 25 did.
And there just was nowhere for the 25 Ashton Lewis or the 12 of Tim Fiedel would have go.
That's a good shot right here. We should see him get sideways off now. He's already sideways there. And as you can see, he's into Ashton Lewis, which puts him into Tim Fiedel.
He came through that corner on the outside of Joe Nemechek, but no evidence of contact between he and Joe. Here's Tim Fiedel was on board. And the super...
Back up, Busch. Hold on to it if you can, brother.
A couple of hard licks.
All right, we got hit on the right rear. Car came across the racetrack here, right rear. I'll tell you if he gets rolling.
I think that was the 25 of Ashton Lewis that came across and got him. Let's see what we see from Michael Waltrip.
Check out
That's
right here. Watch
just
it.
ahead.
Right here. Come on with it. Come on with it.
25 got into
there you go.
Ashton Lewis, 25, went low thinking that he could get underneath Clint Boyer, and of course the 12 car was there. But Darrell, I go back to what Rusty Wallace was talking about earlier, that last night this racetrack was still loose, and it appears that maybe everyone was anticipating this racetrack was going to tighten up, and it looks like everybody's still running loose.
I think they had the qualifying set up in.
12 laps, 2 quick cautions in the NASCAR Busch Series on FX. You are on board with Tim Fiedel, the one car that will not make the restart of the Bashas Supermarkets 200 here in Phoenix. Casey Kane, Tony Stewart, Paul Menard, J.J. Yaley, Denny Hamlin. There's your top 5. Ashton Lewis and Clint Boyer have made repairs and continue. 42 cars on the lead lap. We're set to go. We'll complete lap 18 and get the green flag once again.
Now, Clint Boyer and Ashton Lewis, their crews have kept them on the lead lap. Remember, both those guys are in the top 5 in points right now. Clint's 3rd and Ashton is 5th.
I think Boyer might be all right. That damage was mostly sheet metal, it appeared.
I like the height of that rear spoiler myself.
She's jacked up there now. If that means anything, we'll know here before long.
See a battle right here for 8th. Elliott Sadler in the 90 car underneath Johnny Sauter in the 1. And Martin Truex Jr. says, Elliott Sadler, you open the door, I'll follow you through it, as well as David Stremme in the 14.
Well, Shane Meal started in the back, unapproved adjustments. He is coming to the front like yesterday's train. Did a slice and dice off that restart, and he's picked up 4 spots before coming up into this group of traffic, which includes the 44, Justin Labonte just ahead, and the 10 of Michelle Jourdain outside. We've got a 2-groove racetrack, not a 3-groove racetrack.
But this is typical of Phoenix, being able to run on the outside. If the car will really get, you can get off corner really well out there if you don't lose too much time through the center. But off of turn 2, that's a great line to run off of that turn.
See Greg Biffle there on the outside, the red, white, and black car, and he's made his way up to, he's made his way back up to about the 32nd position. Remember, had to go to the rear of the field after spinning early in the race.
He might be a little more cautious. You know, you can spin out one time and not hit anything. Be pretty lucky to do it twice.
Shane Meal outside Michelle Jourdain. Picks off another spot. Moves him up to 23rd. Meanwhile, up front, Casey Kane has a half-second lead on Tony Stewart. Dick Bergman.
And Ray Evernham is on top of his pit box, Mike, and it is just like days of old listening to Ray Evernham guide Jeff Gordon. Moments ago, he told his driver, be careful of the right front. If you abuse the right front at all, it's just going to make it worse. He's been coaching the crew, paying attention to all the little details that really matter in winning an automobile race. Evernham, as always, on top of everything, this time also on top of the toolbox, calling the event.
Now, what he means by take care of that right front, as a driver, you can drive it in the corner really hard, crank hard left, and pick up the throttle early. You're going to make good time doing that, but you're going to use up a lot of right front tire. You let it roll in, let the car take a set on its own, then pick up the throttle gently.
We're riding now here with David Stremme in the 14 car, looking back at our second place points man right now, Reed Sorensen in the 41. It looks like David Strimme's just fast enough. I think Reed Sorensen's faster if he can get by him. But right now these guys are battling for the 11th position.
I tell you, Reed, they've done a good job with Reed Sorensen, telling him He's a big picture racer, and I think he wants to win the championship. Last week, just think about it. He was up there and he kind of rolled out of the way, had a couple of guys get by him, finished third. He said, man, that's a great day for us.
Darrell, what he just did down in 3 and 4, though, that's a sign of a good handling race car. He pulled that thing below the yellow line, which is actually a little different banking than the actual racetrack.
Well, you can use the apron here to make a pass. So you get into 3, drop those left wheels on there. Whoa.
Brent Sherman goes around. Tyler Walker with him in the 38. And that piles up at least 4 cars. Sherman is the 58 on the right of your screen. And he brings out the caution for the 3rd time tonight. Jeffrey Bodine, 72, is involved. The 54 is David Gilliland.
54 is pretty hurt. It's hurt. See if we can figure out what happened here. 38's down on the bottom. He gets the left wheel down on the apron a little bit, and then he shoves right up into the 58 car there, and nowhere for these other guys to go.
David Gilliland in the 54 almost made it by on the high side, and they pinned him at the last minute. See Derek Cope in the 28 car just getting through.
Now there's the first contact. Both cars go around. Jeffrey Bodine has to spin his own car. 54 has no place to go.
I'm thinking Jeffrey Bodine is going to be okay. I don't believe he made much contact with anybody, but the 38 car definitely got down underneath car number 58 there, and Brent Sherman, and got into him, and that's what turned him around.
Everybody else, including Derek Cope, way up on the high side of the 28, able to get by without further incident. We're under caution in Phoenix. Cleaning up turn 2 after a 4-car pileup. 3rd caution of the night in the NASCAR Busch Series. Casey Kane has led every lap. There are the drivers involved in the crash. And watch the 38 contact Bakery Farms 58.
And Darrell, that looked like a product. He was down on that apron just enough that his car moved back up the racetrack just ever so slightly.
Yeah, Sherman didn't give him a whole lot of room. Didn't respect him being there a whole lot either. But the 38 definitely pushes up into Sherman.
Now watch first the 54 up top. He gets jammed and crammed into the wall. Now watch the 28. Derek Cope takes the same route. Squeezes on by.
Yes. Oh, we could have had that 72 car. He cranked up there and rolled back, but now he's been pushed in.
We're under caution in Phoenix.
It's an uphill climb, winning back-to-back Busch races, but Casey Kane has led all the way so far. Already 3 cautions here in Phoenix. Let's show you how it all happened. Lap 8, Greg Biffle was the Cup winner last week at the Texas Motor Speedway. Hang on, Greg. This brought out the first caution off turn 2.
Yeah, right off the turn 2 right there. His car gets away from him. Around he goes up across the rumble strips, and he had to come down pit road to put on 4 tires, pull the valence back out, and he's ready to go again.
Second caution comes out as you'll get a look from Kenny Wallace's onboard camera. That's Clint Boyer in the 2 car. Then Tim Fita in the 12 car, and Ashton Lewis Jr. in the 25. And a look from onboard the Supercuts. That's how it looks for the driver. And then moments ago here, 4 cars involved here, including Jeffrey Bodine in the 72 car. Just celebrated his 56th birthday last Monday.
Yeah, Tyler Walker along with David Gilliland, all of those guys involved. So right now we're taking a look at Tyler Walker's number 38 car, and they're getting ready to go to work on. We're under red flag conditions, so the crews cannot work on the cars until we go back under yellow or caution situation, so they can evaluate how bad the car is damaged and kind of make a game plan, but they're not allowed to work on it, Chris, as long as the red flag's out.
Our view from the Hollywood Hotel catching quite a bit of the action.
Oh, yeah. This is the hot corner right here behind us.
So intense racing early. Obviously, the conditions aren't causing a problem.
Well, they might be causing just a little bit of a problem because, again, this is the first time we've raced on this track and at this time of night as we hear the cars being refired behind us. So it may be putting us a little bit of a challenge to a lot of these teams, but these early cautions will give an opportunity to work on the cars. But we take a look at our leader, Casey Kane. He's led all 26 laps there.
Casey Kane won last week racing with another team besides the one that he won last week. That was Aikens Motorsports in Texas. This is Ray Evernham Dodge tonight. Tony Stewart, who is currently running second. Let's listen to his communication moments ago with his crew chief, Butch Hill.
Yeah, he's pretty good up off. I mean, I think we're as fast as he is right now. bit quicker some laps. You know, when you roll in on it like that, your brakes are going pretty good getting into one, but I'm just seeing the worst part of it where I'm pitted, you know. That's 26 laps down. We'll just stay put here, Tony. We're pretty good on time here at Speedway.
Chris, what you're hearing right there is the communication between the driver and the crew chief, and he's letting him know what's been going on the racetrack, how he kind of stacks up against the leader, what he's seeing from his vantage point, so they can kind of pace themselves. And right now, these guys, being the veterans they are, Butch Hilton's won Busch championships before, Tony Stewart's won Nextel Cup championships. They're just being real cool, realizing they got a long ways to go. They're going to save their car, and they feel like they've got the ability right now to challenge Casey Kane when they want to.
All right, let's get more from Jeannie Salasco. Jeannie?
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation. A little bit more to it was the suggestion, well, maybe if he's so good off, maybe we should make changes. And Tony's saying, no, we're good. He's just better right now. It's just how it's happening. Also concerns for Tony Stewart tonight after sustaining those burns in Texas. Now, he told Matt, you may remember, pre-race, hey, he's fine once he's in the car. But Hilton told him, look, I'm real glad this has worked out for you this way. It is not so hot. It's not so hard on you. Steve?
Well, Jeannie, before the race, we heard Matt Yoakum talk to Tony Stewart about how much success he's had on this racetrack. J.J. Yaley has followed a very similar career path as Tony Stewart. In fact, Yaley and Stewart, the only drivers to win the Triple Crown in USAC, meaning they won the championship in 3 different kinds of cars. This is J.J. Yaley's hometown. His crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, said you are running lap times faster than the leaders. Matt?
Information is everything in this sport, and having the talent on top of the pit box and also up in the suite. Owner Rusty Wallace was listening in on the conversations back and forth between Jimmy McMurray and Blake Bainbridge. He threw in his own observations of what they should do to make a wedge adjustment to help improve the loose end tie-off condition. And then he said, Blake, call me on my cell phone and give me the air pressures when they come off. They did not want to say it over the radio in case other teams were listening. Dick?
Well, Ray Evernham from the top of the pit box has told his driver, Casey Kane, be sure and run the car back and forth on the racetrack, particularly get that right front tire that has been pushing, get that tire warmed up. Kane says the longer they have gone, the less the push. So, as this race unfolds, Casey Kane, currently your leader, has a car that's getting better and better. Chris?
All right, thanks. Let's check in, Jeff, with the cars on pit road making the stop.
Well, let's take a look right now with Carl Edwards. They're putting 4 tires on. Reed Sorensen, Martin Truex, all these cars coming down pit road. And Chris, we were talking about it earlier. The track conditions, the way they are right now, I think really is kind of challenging these crews, and they're taking advantage here on lap 28 to come down. We'll take a look at David Green. He's getting ready to pull out. Brett Sherman's making repairs to his car. He was involved in that last accident. So all these teams are trying to dial their cars in early, but hey, when they look out there and see Casey Kane right now staying out like he's doing right now, that's got to be concerning them, right, Matt?
One of the best race cars on the racetrack before this caution, Jeff, is the 41 Reed Sorensen, second in the championship standings. They only made an air pressure adjustment. He said the car was a little free. Nothing that he didn't have a problem as far as dealing with that issue. The car was pretty good. They made that air pressure adjustment. Again, looking ahead, planning their race out, their strategy of what they want to do as the laps wind down.
All right, thanks, Matt. Fox FX Speed's coverage of NASCAR continuing tomorrow morning. NASCAR this morning on Speed leading up to Nextel Cup racing. The Subway Fresh 500 on Fox. Prime time racing in the desert. Jeff Gordon is on the pole. Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes for his 3rd straight Cup win in Vegas. Of course, it wraps up with NASCAR Victory Lane later in the evening. It's the place where America gathers every weekend. NASCAR on Fox. We hope you'll be with us for prime time racing here in Phoenix tomorrow night.
There's the front row. If you remember back to Martinsville, not exactly best friends. Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch will start side by side tomorrow night on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Getting set for the restart in a lap here. Larry, the drivers that stopped, including contenders Carl Edwards, Martin Truex, and Reed Sorensen, making an early stop, running this race in rewind from the last lap back.
Well, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, and we had about 10 cars that pitted that time. I think some of those cars were needing adjustments, but I talked to those 3 crew chiefs a lot. I talked to Kevin Mannion, Martin Truex's crew chief, Brad Parrott for Carl Edwards, and especially Brian Patty for Reed Sorensen in the 41. I just think this is where those guys are making that move to maybe from here try to do this race on one stop.
2 big gainers early on. Shane Meal started in the back. He is 16th. Michel Jourdain started 40th. He is 17th in the number 10. There they are. Casey Kane has never led in a stock car at Phoenix, and now he's been out front for these first 30 laps as the pace truck heads for pit road.
Last week, Casey was very complimentary of his engine that he had in his car, Ray Abraham engines, and looks like they got another good one this weekend.
Still have a single file restart because we really do not have but one car that's a lap down. That's Ashton Lewis Jr., who has that wounded car right now, 25 car.
Elliott Sadler trying the outside and drops back in line behind Johnny Sauter in 8th place. Sorensen diving but can't get under Martin Truex. Edwards in the 60 to the outside around Mark Green in the 23.
And I think you'll see these 3 cars slice through this pack of cars right here with somewhat ease, because remember, they have about 25 less laps on these brand new tires they just put on, but the further they go, the tougher it'll be. Mark Truex Jr. in the 8 car, as well as Reed Sorensen in the 41, got a good run on the high side off turn 2, trying to go by him on the outside.
Contact there.
Got smoke. You know, they got bottlenecked up back there. And lock it up. A little tire smoke.
Racing a 78 of Jerry Robertson. Meanwhile, Michael Waltrip in 13th trying to hold off Shane Meal.
But Shane Mill, even with all those cautions and the red flag, it's taken him 35 laps. He's already in the top 15 up to 14th. Had to go to the rear of the field because of unapproved adjustments at the beginning of the race.
Whoa, man, he's trying to squeeze through there and on the outside of Michael now, and Michael needs him a little bit of room, and he did.
See Michael bottoming out a little bit right there.
So car's low in the front end right now. She's sucked down.
But I just believe, like every week, Shane Mill right now, the 32 car, we're riding with him. It looks like he has a fast race car. If you'll just realize we still have a long way to go. Be patient.
Something doesn't, Shane Mill and being patient, I don't think that goes together too well, Larry.
We'll see, but I agree, Darrell. He needs to finish a race with a clean front bumper and a clean report card. Jamie McMurray moving on Kenny Wallace. This is for 10th place.
Remember, Jamie McMurray started back in that 10th row as well, and here he's knocking on the door of top 10, the winner from the Busch race here in the fall, driving the Rusty Wallace car. Boy, he bailed her off into turn 1 that time, but Kenny Wallace just running the bottom enough in the middle of 1 and 2, but looks like Jamie's going to get beside him. He should win the race down into turn 3 now.
Get down underneath somebody at the kink back there, and then you can beat them into turn 3. You pretty much can make the pass.
Good see you, man, I'm telling you.
Oh, Shane Meal into the back of Joe Nemechek.
Right now, these guys are battling for the 12th position.
The thing about Shane is, I mean, when you start bumping into people, you knock your fenders in, you take a chance on cutting down a tire. You just need to, you know, realize this thing's got a couple of 100 laps, and you need to not be in such a big hurry.
Michael Waltrip back after Meal. And look who's back into the picture after a spin on lap 9 to bring out the first caution. 66, Greg Biffle.
It's taken him 30 laps since he put those 4 fresh tires on back on lap 9, and here he's knocking on the door of the top 15, already up to the 15th position. And I'm sure they tightened that car up just a little bit too, because he was very loose those first 9 or 10 laps.
Sometimes the set of tires that you start on, Larry, is just not as good as what you can go to later on, because you can go to stickers, you can make an air pressure adjustment, and really, really help your race car.
Now Michael Waltrip in the 99 starting to work the high side, but you see Greg Biffle in the 66. He's going to run the bottom here with Shane Mill in the 32, trying to take it 3 wide off this corner, off turn 2.
Wow, didn't think you could do that here.
Somebody has to give. Looks like Shane Mill in the middle. He finally gives about halfway down the backstretch before they got to turn 3.
That was a smart move on Mill's part.
Very much so.
That had UGLY written all over it.
Disaster averted as Waltrip and Biffle continue. to dog it out here for 13th.
He gets such a run off this corner. Watch Michael now. He will just accelerate. He gets such a great run up high. The guy on the bottom is kind of pinned down and it bogs him down. Now in turns 3 and 4, it's a little different situation.
I think what Greg Biffle would love to see right here is a long green run. He'd like to make as many positions as he can make before possibly would get a caution flag where he could be back on sequence with everyone.
So Larry, does it do him any good if his forward progress is halted like it seems to be right now?
You know, definitely he'd like to get by Michael Waltrip in the 99 in a hurry, because he knows he's a little faster than some of these cars in front of him.
Yeah, well, he's got the Joe Nemechek and Kenny Wallace and Michael as well. So like we said last week, you can get past that first hose car around down here 5 of turn 4. Boston Reed is out.
Boston is out. You got to work.
Hard crash for Boston Reed in the number 5 of Hendrick Motorsports.
Sure killed the radiator there.
Yeah, the Lowe's car is
killed more than that.
pretty hurt.
Now,
You're killed. Don't do anything stupid there, man.
we talked about Greg Biffle would love to see some long green runs. I think this is just the caution that cars like Martin Truex Jr., Carl Edwards, Reed Sorensen, who just was on pit road just a few laps ago, I think they want to see this caution. They can make up that track position now.
Looks like somebody helps the 5 car around. Who is that?
That is Clint Boyer.
Clint there in the 2 car.
Fourth caution of the night, lap 44. And it's hard to see if the contact initiated the spin or was a result of it.
I think the contact caused the spin.
Five, Boston Reed, Clint Boyer, and 2. They were battling for about 30th or 31st position at the back of the pack.
Just see a little damage at the bottom of the left rear quarter panel on Boston Reed's car from the contact with Boyer.
We're seeing Kevin Harvick in the 21, Johnny Sauter in the 1, Stan Barrett in the 36. But you see right here, that means pit road is closed right now. So these guys, they've made a bad mistake right here. Pit road is not open. And those guys, Matt, were running in the top 10.
Possible miscommunication, Larry. Now, Kevin Harvick has said on the radio, no one told me the pits were closed. Usually the crew chief and spotter, a lot of communication back and forth. Who has that role to tell the driver whether it's open or closed? Now, they're going back and forth on the radio, and Harvick is saying someone has to communicate with me. A miscue between communication and the driver and the team. Ricky Byers is talking to NASCAR officials. Now pit road is open.
Yeah, and you see that light. It looks, that's kind of a, it is redundant to the flag. But the driver said under certain lighting conditions they couldn't tell if pit road is open or not. So Whelen Engineering came up with that big strobe light. Looks like a flying saucer. And now all these drivers know that pit road is open. The cars that stopped a lap ago will have to restart at the tail end of the line. Steve.
J.J. Yaley in, Mike. He says he is tight on exit and tight in the middle. They'll make a track bar adjustment on the number 18. J.J. Yaley from Phoenix, Arizona. 4 tires. Matt?
Young Denny Hamlin working on his first career top 5 finish. Now he says the car is both tight and loose. Cully Barraclaw, his new crew chief, is going to work on air pressure to help him in the center. Going to make a wedge adjustment to help free him up off. Lugs are on and he's down and away. Genie's in Alaska.
Well, this stop puts Tony Stewart in a window they like. They decided to pit for tires track bar adjustment. Tony saying the car is starting to come to him, Dick.
Casey Kane, a long pit stop, trouble with the right rear. A very long time spent on the right rear of the car. Evernham had called for more weight on the right rear corner of the car. The air pressure changes in 2 of the tires, and Casey Kane takes off behind a lot of other cars.
Looks like of the cars that pitted that time, Tony Stewart, the 33 car, will win the battle off pit road. But just as we anticipated, those 10 or 12 cars that pitted just a few laps ago, but also including Greg Biffle, who pitted back on lap 9, all of those cars stayed out on this caution.
We're under caution for Boston Reed, crashing in turn 4 after contact from the 2 of Clint Boyer. One lap ago, they dropped the green flag to restart this. They went into turn 1 3 wide and into turn 3 3 wide.
Remember when I said in the beginning of the show that everything would happen on the track? Well, it's trying to happen. Look at that. That's incredible.
Hard to believe you could do that here, but they are.
There's a sense of urgency, I think, in a race of only 200 miles like this, that you got to get it done in a hurry. And this restart is a pretty good indication that everybody's in a hurry.
Here's the restart.
They just start running in the back of each other. Look at that.
But a lot of cars did not get going very good.
But they have now sorted out without incident.
Somehow, some way.
6 cars were penalized for entering the pits while the pits were still closed.
And the penalty, those penalties would be for Kevin Harvick, Johnny Sauter, Stanton Barrett, Ashton Lewis, and Steve Grissom. The penalty started the tail end of the longest line, which is basically at the rear of the field. And we had 12 cars that stayed out on that caution.
Man, they come off turn 4, then the 38, the 11, the 20. They all 3 were sideways.
38, Tyler Walker, damaged after an earlier crash, but still out there chasing it, while Greg Biffle leads Carl Edwards by 1/4 of a second. Reed Sorensen, Jason Keller, John Wood, the rookie, up for 5th.
And Darrell, I think watching Greg Biffle lead this race, remember, he's been out there now over 40 laps on his tires. We talked about this. This is a pretty good tire that lasts. It does not give up on the stopwatch.
No, I think they'll be fine on right sides tonight. I think that's going to help if you want to take 2 as well.
Greg Biffle, who spun at lap 9 to bring out the first caution of the night. Our rejuvenating moment of the race, brought to you by Just for Men hair color. More than a hair color, the Rejuvenator. As Greg Biffle has rejuvenated his race from a lap 9 spin to where now he has cycled around and become the leader of this race. That was the spin all by himself. Came in, got 4 tires, restarted as tail end Charlie, and now he's out front at 54 laps.
That was the first caution, and he stayed out the next 3 cautions, and now he's leading the race. But you see our boys that are 1 and 2 in the points. Carl Edwards in the 60 car, Reed Sorensen in the 41 car. Looking right down the rear bumper right now, Greg Biffle in the 66.
Yeah, in the 60 of Edwards and Sorensen in the 41. They're in a little bit better shape than oh, got one around down here off turn 4.
Michelle Jourdain, the 10 car.
He had had such a great race coming from 40th up into the top 15.
38 got in that really, got his whole front end knocked in as well.
Oh, and that car is pounded. Michelle Jourdain, the open wheel veteran.
If you can, pull it straight to pit road. Come on down here. It needs the radiators.
Has clobbered the nose, and Tyler Walker has damage as well.
I tell you, I don't know if it's a full moon, under lights, or what it is, but these guys are driving like there's no tomorrow.
Did that car just snap loose?
It sure looked like it.
Who just got by was our pole sitter, Casey Kane, in the 6 car, who was back there after
21
that
as
pit
well.
stop.
Kevin Harvick, just watch Kevin Harvick's car.
Yeah, nobody touched Jourdain.
Doesn't appear.
Till now. Tyler Walker gets into him, and that sends him straight into the safer barrier.
Watch Harvick here. He's
Kevin
on the
Harvick.
outside, and all of a sudden they're spinning. Uh-oh, I'm in the smoke. I'm in the, where are they?
Hello.
Good call.
You pretty much had to depend on that spotter.
He's doing a Tennessee waltz right there.
From Michael Waltrip, there goes the spin by Jourdain.
Oh, that's a true when you look back and see him.
Tyler Walker, all steamed up about that one.
Pit road is open right now, but we're not seeing a lot of takers because most of our guys were on pit road just on this last caution, and we had a lot of them back on lap 28. But Greg Biffle leading this race right now. The 66 car has not been on pit road since lap 9.
And the most important thing is that Michel Jourdain is okay and climbing out after a hard hit. Tyler Walker's car goes to the garage. Jourdain a wave to the crowd. We'll check with Dick Berggren.
Well, Casey Kane had won the pole for tonight's race and had led every lap until the pit stop. Then a very, very long pit stop with an enormous amount of time spent on the right rear wheel. After that pit stop, I asked the rear tire changer, Joe Krushak, what happened. He said that the alignment cap that helps the changers and the carriers get the wheel properly on the 4s or the 5 studs, that cap has come off, so they don't have a good way to align the wheel when they put it on. They're going to have trouble with every single pit stop. Jeff Hammond.
Dick, what they're talking about with the 6 cars, we take a look at the damage right now, looks like on Tyler Walker's car one more time, as the fact that the cap that they're looking at is the one I have in my hand right now. This is what goes on the hub of the car, and you can see here are the alignments so they know where the studs are lined up at, and it's tapered. I'm going to turn it to the side. You can see that's tapered like a bullet. And what they do is when they put the wheel on, it helps to align the rim and the studs up, and it slides up on there. If this cap falls off, which has already happened, boom, it's gone away. All they've got are these 5 studs hanging out just like on a regular passenger car. And Chris, that really makes it very, very difficult. There again is an example of what we're talking about here. That makes all the difference in the world as far as making fast pit stops. When you lose that cap, all of a sudden you got the stud sticking out there, and it's really going to challenge this team. And the best thing they can do, looks like they're talking about maybe coming in and trying to repair that. You look and you see the guys are working right now. They got electric impact wrenches and screwdrivers so they can possibly change it and replace that. Otherwise, it's going to be real difficult to get on and off pit road quick for this car.
Casey Kane's crew trying to get him back up front. He led most of the race early. Currently, he is 21st. And, of course, the winner last week, Greg Biffle, your leader, after an early spin here in Phoenix.
Very few places in America where the sunsets are prettier than they are out here in the Arizona desert. So we thought we'd speed with that one up for you so you can see it all. Because now night has fallen on Phoenix International Raceway, at least from where we sit. Let's have you do the math and show you the biggest movers in this race. Shane Meal up 26 spots. Now Michel Jourdain would have been on this sheet, except he's now in the garage after that crash. How about the teammates of ST Motorsports, Stacy Compton and John Wood, big climbers in this one?
I know Greg Biffle started 20th, but on lap 10 he was about 43rd, so he really goes to the top of the charts of Aaron's do the math.
A pretty nice win for Keller, too. He's up there in 4th place.
There's a Wood and Compton. 2 Fords, and here's why this caution is out. Watch the right of your screen as Jourdain goes around, gets turned by the 38 smack head-on into the safer barrier. And Kevin Harvick got squirreled up by Johnny Saunders. They tried to avoid it, but we're not part of the crash per se.
Just remember why Kevin Harvick and Johnny Sauter are back there is because of that mistake made where they pitted too soon before pit road was open, had to go to the rear of the field.
Let's check with Jeannie.
Boy, so much for the health concerns for Tony Stewart, of course, nursing those 1st and 2nd degree burns. Came on the radio, said, look, I feel really good. His crew chief, Butch Hilton, said, good, that's the way it's supposed to be. And Tony replied, hey, you tell Raines to just relax. Raines being, of course, the backup emergency driver tonight. Tony Raines, who replied, hey, no worries, already had a hot dog. I'm relaxed, and he should be. Tony Raines having no worries because he's scheduled for 24 races in the 33 car this season.
Well, if he was the backup driver, wouldn't he have his driver's suit on? So Tony plans to go the distance.
I think he knows the other Tony pretty good, that Tony Stewart, especially with this car being as good as it is, he has no plans of getting out of this race car tonight.
Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, remember, before the race, or actually after his qualifying run, Kenny Wallace said to his crew, we're going to win the race. Well, once this race has started, things haven't gone his way. He's told crew chief Wes Ward the car is sliding all over the racetrack. There's little they can do to help tighten him up except make an air pressure adjustment. Very loose.
Jamie McMurray will restart this race in 20th position. Let's hear what he and his team had to say.
That's a lot better getting in. I just a little bit too tight to center, but I believe it's because my errors are so low. Because the more I ran there, the better I was getting. So it just didn't start out real good, and I got stuck in the wrong line. Yeah, 10-4, you're doing a good job.
Sound Rusty Wallace on the other end of that radio.
So there's a good chance it was the owner, Rusty Wallace. But you heard him talk about his air pressure being down. These guys drop the air pressure very low in these tires in the beginning because they treat this like a short track. Even though it's a 1-mile racetrack, you really get a lot of air pressure build up over the course of a long run.
36 drivers on the lead lap for this restart. Greg Biffle leads them around. Carl Edwards, Reed Sorensen, Jason Keller, John Wood, Stacy Compton, 5 Fords, and the Dodge of Sorensen in the top half dozen. Here we go.
That's a little more like it right there.
What do you say, Larry? It's Friday night.
You got to grab those knobs first and twist them as far as you can. Let's crank it up.
Tony Stewart on the march has passed Stacy Compton and John Wood and moved up into the top 5. Michelle Jourdain treated at the infield care center and released okay after a hard hit into the turn 4 wall.
And Tony Stewart, he has about 15 to 20 lap fresher tires in this group right here he's racing with. So we see our pole sitter Casey Kane in this car trying to race with Michael Waltrip in the 99, Martin Truex in the 8. This is a battle back for 18th position.
First 3 cars are there pretty sporty. They're running pretty similar lap times, 19, 16, and 18 on the watch. They're all pretty fast.
Well, Darrell, you can tell the track has cooled down. The speeds have picked up because our top 4 just ran the fastest lap they ran in this race.
Martin Truex on the right of your screen, 1 lap ago off turn 2, threaded the needle between 2 cars. He has taken no prisoners in his march to the front. Here he goes around Casey Kane.
Whoops, he got a little loose there. That's going to open up the door for Casey. Casey's got the position going down the back.
On your left, Elliott Sadler trying to battle Stacy Compton. Here comes David Stremme, 14 into the picture. And that race will be for about 10th place, 9th place.
Now Martin Truex Jr. in an 8 car, his crew chief Kevin Mannion, they're the only car out there that has actually pitted twice because he pitted back on lap 28 and then pitted again with all the leaders on lap 45. More adjustments, 4 more fresh tires.
Jeannie?
Hey guys, the reason the 8 car had to come in twice was they needed to pull a rubber from that right rear and they just could not get it done with the first stop, so they had to come back in, and then even that took a long time, just trying to get that wheel off before they could get the rubber out. So they really didn't want to stop twice, but they had to.
Yeah, that's one of those qualifying things. Put the rubber in, make it turn real good qualifying, but makes it a little loose in the race, so you get that out of there, and looks like it's really helped the car.
You're riding with Shane Meal. Winfield camera battling Joe Nemechek in the yellow car of Paul Menard. You'll see a lot more of these in-car views from Shane Meal, David Stremme, Tim Fedua on Speed Channel's weekly show, NBS 24/7. They've rerun the race from the onboard view, and they look at everything that happens from when the checker flag waves until next week's green flag. It's only on Speed.
So if you like those shots, you'll get a whole lot of it on NBS 24/7. Just watch Jamie McMurray, though, in the 64 car. He turned his car to the bottom. Car looks like it's working awfully good. He's up to the 14th position.
Oh, round goes somebody. I can't tell who it is over
Scott Legacy, the 40 car.
Scott Legacy Jr. in the Cotman's transmission, number 40, brings out the 6th caution of the night.
Guys, I just believe this is going to force Greg Biffle in the 66 car. He's going to have to pit because we're getting now where he's well over halfway through a fuel run, because remember, he's not been to pit road since lap 9.
I think this is a perfect time for him. Has the pit road now.
Watch the yellow car of Legacy going in outside Justin Labonte. Yeah, they get together.
It's just hard to run underneath somebody here, especially coming off of turn 2.
Pretty heavy damage to the left front on Legacy's car. In the garage or behind the wall, Tyler Walker, Michelle Jourdain, Boston Reed, David Gilliland, and Tim Fedowa. And Legacy to that group.
Well, he didn't come.
He stayed out, but all the cars behind him did. Carl Edwards in the 60, Reed Sorensen in the 41.
Well, you know what it is, Larry? I mean, he's just committed to making it on one more stop, and he couldn't do that if he came right now, Biffle. So I guess he's going to try to make it to where he can stop one more time, go the distance.
But one thing I did notice, those guys behind him, they committed at the last second before the commit cone, Matt.
And the 41 of Reed Sorensen is in, Larry Mack. He says, you need to free me up. The car is just way too tight. I cannot get it to cut like I need to. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick in cosmetic damage from the one car on the left rear corner. Now, they pitted because they have to do something strategy-wise. They made a miscue earlier. A slow stop made a miscue earlier. Now they're trying to rebound from when they pitted and pit road was not open. They know they've got 30 laps on their tires, but they know the leaders are going to have to pit about 20, trying to get themselves in position to capitalize, Mike.
There's the race off pit road. And trouble in the left rear for Stacy Compton in the Kingsford Ford. And out he goes. A rash of yellow flag fever tonight in Phoenix. 6 caution flags in 73 laps.
Welcome back to Phoenix. Busch Series Racing on FX, brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Lights. Busch, the proud sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series.
35 cars on the lead lap with 75 complete of Bashas Supermarkets 200. Coming down for the restart after caution flag number 6. Green flag waves over Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart, and teammates J.J. Yaley and Denny Hamlin.
And remember, our leader, Greg Biffle, in the 66 car, he has not been to pit road since lap 9, and we're at lap 76 now. And Darrell, I'm not saying this is bad strategy. You see them 3 wide off turn 2 right here, but I think they painted themselves into a box of a very small window to have to make that stop.
Yeah, their margin of error just shrunk way, way down.
Elliott Sadler in 5th place. And the City Financial Ford, number 90. Trying to move up on Hamlin. Here's Steve.
Hey, Mike, early in this race, I heard DW say, if I was a Cup driver, I'd have got me a ride for this race. Well, Elliott Sadler has won. Now, Robert Yates is down here in the pits. Ray Fox, Todd Parrott, the guys that run his Cup team. Elliott is talking about this racetrack in comparison to tomorrow night. He says, I'm bottoming in the center of the corner, but we're not going to start like this tomorrow night. I've got some ideas. He's also talking about shocks. So trying to win the race tonight, but also talking about tomorrow night.
Steve, I think the difference is that this is about the time we anticipate the Nextel Cup race will be coming to conclusion tomorrow night, rather than being not quite halfway as we are this evening.
And just remember, they are very limited to the adjustments they can make on those Nextel Cup cars because they sit in the garage area right now, impounded after qualifying.
But you know, Larry, with spring rubbers and even the shocks themselves, you can reach in there and click those shocks and get that car up off the ground. So I'm sure that's what he's thinking about.
What we've all been wondering is why didn't Greg Biffle pit? Dick Berggren has the answer.
Well, I know they've got the whole answer, Mike, but I asked his crew chief, Newt Moore, how far they can go on this tank of fuel, and Newt estimated lap 117 to 118. So between now and then, they get another caution flag. They're good to go.
Well, in their perfect world, for lack of better words, they need that caution to come somewhere about lap 105 to 117 before they have to make that green flag stop, anticipating if it goes there and they get a caution, everyone else will come in knowing they can make it to the end.
And if you look at the field now as we go along here, it's a lot more strung out than it has been early on here. So the chances of a caution are becoming very slim.
%40 of the distance, 80 laps complete. Greg Biffle, 0.6 of a second up on Tony Stewart. Martin Truex passing Clint Boyer. That's back in 21st place.
Now, Martin Truex Jr., the 8 car, he was one of those cars that just made a pit stop, so he's actually made 3 stops. You heard Jeannie talking about they've been making major adjustments, trying to get a spring rubber out of the right rear, but obviously he's reaping the benefits from those 4 fresh tires as he gets up another position.
Well, it's about time we race a while. The longest green flag run tonight, 13 laps.
We're working on improving that.
And again, no one has any data, no one has any notes or anything else from a night race at Phoenix. So this is all new territory right here. Oh, got a car real high in turn 3 and 4. I don't think he hit the wall.
No, that's the 40 again. He brings it down. Scott Lagasse Jr. Trying to keep his car on track.
Let's update our pole sitter. Casey Kane in the 6 car led most of the first part of this race, but after that first pit stop, back about lap 45, they had the problem with the hubcap on the right rear. They couldn't get the tire up there. He was way back in the field. Now he's working on almost back to the top 10. But there'll be another pit stop to come. That's the problem.
Guys up front right now, we see Greg Biffle leading this thing, but in behind him, you got Tony Stewart that followed real closely, but who just moved to the 3rd place. Denny Hamlin got a car around right now, the 58 car.
Brent Sherman has spun, Jeff.
Yep, there you go.
And get it going, trying to get it going. Leaders are coming.
There was a slow car on the outside of the back straightaway, and then there may have been some contact there where Sherman, who was also involved in the 3rd caution of the night, brings out the 7th yellow flag at lap 86. He was way up high trying to stay out of harm's way with that flat left rear tire. And around he came.
Well, Larry, you think Biffle will pit this time?
I mean, they cannot make it from here, you know, without stopping again. But, Darrell, I mean, now they're within about 20 laps that they'd have to make a green flag stop. I couldn't imagine that they will stay out there. Tires are fine. Fuel's the problem.
Yeah, no, I'd feel better about stopping now and hoping I got a lot of cautions and trying to make it at the end than I had to stay out there and hope I get another caution now that I'm getting close to being in my fuel window.
We talked about 85 to 95 laps on fuel. Of course, here cautions are like 2 to 1. I would say the way these cautions are coming, if you can get to lap 100, you'd feel pretty good about making it to the end.
And if he's probably going to be one of the few cars to come on pit road, he could wait until it's right at the very, when he knows there's going to be one to go. That buys him a little more time.
We'll know here in about 4 seconds because pit road is open.
Yeah, he's got it looking down to you. Here he comes.
Took all the drama right out of it, didn't he?
Looks like J.J. Yaley in the 18 car will follow him and a few others, but most of the guys that have pitted recently stayed out.
Steve?
Mike, J.J. Yaley says his car is still a little bit tight in the center and tight on exit. He's been having a great run here tonight on his home track. He won the Car World Classic earlier this year in an open-wheel car. They're going to take a half-pound of air out of the front tires.
Jane Meal is in. Michael Waltrip getting service. Randy LaJoy. Here's Dick.
Greg Biffle on pit road. Now no major changes to this automobile. Biggest problem was trying to find his pit. He's pitting on the curve here in turn 1. Needed a lot of help to be able to find his pit, but Biffle stopped exactly on the nose. Nice pit stop by his crew, and he's out of here with 4 fresh tires and fuel, but probably not enough to get him to the end.
We had about 8 or 9 cars pit, but right now with 34 cars on the lead lap, he's going to go from leading this race back to about 26, 28 right now.
Darrell, our replay folks are right on it. Watch car number 58. We'll see how he got his tire cut down.
Probably got rubbed by something.
David Green in the 27 car. And we do not run the inner liner tire, the tire within the tire here.
And Brent Sherman brings out the 7th caution of the night in Phoenix. Getting set for the restart. In Phoenix, can Tony Stewart hold off a hard-charging Denny Hamlin, Elliott Sadler, David Stremme, and Kenny Wallace?
Been so impressed with this Denny Hamlin all year long. I think because of the performance that Reed Sorensen, Carl Edwards has been having, Denny Hamlin in the 20s somewhat been lost in the shuffle. This is basically the first time he's ever seen Phoenix. When he rode in here yesterday, he'd never been to this racetrack. A year ago, he was racing late models in South Boston, Virginia.
And you know, I think it's impressive that Gibbs went out and hired a crew chief Bear Claw's quality to be this young man's crew chief and help him run the way he is.
8th place right here, Casey Kane trying to take it from Jamie McMurray. Kane in the 6th with Carl Edwards and Reed. Sorensen looking in. Here's Sorensen to the inside. 2x2, and Kevin Harvick in the picture. Oh, Legacy. Left front gave way, and a hard hit. Caution is out.
Now this is when you're the crew chief on the 66. You're kicking yourself saying, man, I'd have just waited till the next caution.
You just never know.
Can't depend on the cautions.
Scott Legacy Jr. trying to finish this race.
It's a hard hit.
She just won't turn.
But we have safer barriers here. We see Robert Yates, the owner of Elliott Sadler, number 90 Busch car, as well as the Cup car for Elliott. Next up, Cup car for Dale Jarrett.
Todd Parrott, Eddie DeHunt.
I look at those two guys, Robert Yates and Todd sitting there. And of course, Buddy was my crew chief. Todd's dad. Robert was my engine builder at Diagard. Brings back a lot of good memories.
And at that point, Todd was just playing out in the infield, right?
He was in the way.
8 caution flags. Second one of the night for Scott Legacy Jr. You're watching the NASCAR Busch Series on FX.
Tony Stewart currently leading. Already 8 cautions in this race in Phoenix. This is Greg Biffle, who spun out on turn 2. Later took the lead on lap 45. Tyler Walker in the 38 car, bringing out another caution. Kevin Harvick in the top 5, pitted, wasn't told that the pit was not open and lost up 28 positions. Has worked his way back up. Boston Reed in the 5 car here, spinning and losing it. As we started in daylight, working toward the nighttime. Michelle Jordan and Tyler Walker involved here. Jordan was okay once the smoke cleared. Scott Legacy Jr. in his first career Busch Series race in the 40 car from St. Augustine, Florida. And again, wrecking Legacy.
Yeah, he's working on his legacy right now.
Bringing out another caution. We're within 1 caution of the record of 9. He appears to be okay there, by the way, for this racetrack in the Busch Series. We haven't even hit 100 laps yet.
No, this right here has been kind of a surprise. But again, Chris, I think it could be because these lights, these crews right now, they're working on their cars, but all of a sudden when they snap loose, the guys can't hang on to them. Next thing you know, they're getting into one another, and we're having a lot of cautions.
Adjustments being made. Let's check in with Matt Yoka. Matt?
And Denny Hamlin having a career evening, currently running in the 2nd position now. Before the caution, he did have some right front fender damage. He also said, your job, to his crew chief, Cully Bearclaw, your job is to free me up in the center. It is just way too tight. Cully said, are you sure that you've never run here before? Denny said, I am positive. And Cully said, it just, you would never know the way you're running right now. You're getting ready for the restart.
35 cars on the lead lap. Brent Sherman the free pass. The last 3 cautions, Ashton Lewis has gotten the free pass each one of those times, and he's now climbed to 2 laps down. Stewart, Hamlin, and Chevy's, Sadler's Ford, Stremmy's Dodge, and Kenny Wallace's Ford are the front 5 as they take the green flag with 96 laps complete.
Still a single file restart. We still have 35 cars on the lead lap. Jamie McMurray in the 64 car just drove by Paul Menard in 11. That's a battle for 7th. Casey Kane, our pole sitter, in the 6th, goes by him on the outside, or attempts to go by him.
And Darrell, it seems that these passes begin at turn 1.
Yeah,
and end up in turn 3.
You get that momentum, you get that run down the back, and then you kind of pick and choose whether you want to go low, go high into 3.
See, Carl Edwards, our points leader there in the 60 car, he's making a lot of moves right now, but he has about 30 lap fresher tires than most of these guys. Most of these cars he's passing were on pit road at lap 45. Carl Edwards took 4 tires at lap 73.
And this has all become a game of who can get to the gas first between turns 1 and 2. Everything else seems to unfold from there on this very uniquely shaped, almost egg-shaped oval.
Well, Larry, with 35 cars on the lead lap, I mean, if you come into the pits later on into this event and you got to restart way back in the back single file, you're going to have a hard time getting to the front before you run out of laps.
Martin Truex has Reed Sorensen outside, and for the lead, here comes Hamlin.
On the outside.
He is getting off the corner just like the guys were reporting. That car really hooks up once he gets it turned.
Denny Hamlin, in the 7 races since Daytona, he's finished the top 18 all 7. And his last 3 starts ended with 9th place finish at Nashville, 9th at Bristol, 14th at Texas.
I talked to him yesterday, and I was sort of tickled at his remark. He said, you know, I'm tied for 5th in the points, but I'm 3rd in the rookie points battle.
This will quickly become his favorite racetrack, I bet you.
It's the 2nd track on which he has led. He led the race at Nashville as well.
He just ran the quickest lap that he's ran in this race, and we're halfway, lap 100, 28:10.
He and Joe Nemechek in 6th place just ran their personal best lap of the race, as did Elliott Sadler and David Stremme, running 3rd and 4th, and Jamie McMurray, who is in 6th.
Mike and Larry, interestingly enough, when I talked to one of the guys who's raced here a lot, Jason Leffler from the Nextfield Cup Series, he told me he really expected this racetrack to get more grippier as the night went on and faster. So as these times get quicker, don't be surprised by the end of this race if we don't see some of the fastest laps run since the beginning of this race at the end.
Score monitor pretty much supports that, Jeff. But we've been watching Carl Edwards. Remember, he talked about little fresher tires. He's been making all his moves over these last few passes on the outside.
You got to go where they're not. If they're going to hug the bottom, then find you another place to run.
Riding with Kenny Wallace, here's Steve Burns.
Mike, it wasn't that long ago that Kenny Wallace said that his car was sliding all over the racetrack. Well, now he says on a scale of 1 to 10, it's an 8. Their strategy is they want to make one more pit stop and then go to the end.
Wallace clears the 64.
You see the run, you get up, you get high down here in 1 and 2, you get such a great run off 2, gives you a lot of speed down that back straightaway.
We've been watching Jamie McMurray most of this last part of this first half of the race. The 64 car, his car's been working awfully good on the bottom of the racetrack. He's able to turn it right down to the bottom, and the car turns awfully good right there, right in the center.
But now watch the run that Kenny gets off this corner. Watch how he just accelerates, clears Jamie, and away he goes. You just don't bind the car up when you're up high off of that corner, and you got more room over there than you used to have. They moved that wall back quite a bit.
5th place battle here. McMurray inside of Wallace with Edwards looking in. From the care center, Scott Lagasse Jr. checked and released. Okay. Shane Beal and Michael Waltrip get together.
They've been working on each other all night long. They've been together pretty much the whole race.
Now, these are 2 cars that made the pit stop back on lap 86. Right now, they are battling for the 20th position.
Shane Beal has 2 Busch Series starts here. Crashed both times.
Uh-oh, trouble on Hamlin. He got high down here in turns 1 and 2, or 3 and 4. He's got a tire down the right front. He had a fender rub. I saw that earlier from some damage, and I think he's got a right front down.
But he may be lucky because we have a caution, and he kept it off the wall.
He went into turns 3 and 4, and all of a sudden the car just shot up the track. I noticed some right front damage on that car.
Did not hit anything, but we do have a right front flash.
You know, he had even mentioned a while ago, one of our boys mentioned that he had some right front fender damage.
That will tie the record set last year for the number of caution flags in a Busch race at Phoenix.
Now, if he can get to pit road, and you can see the damage there where he's been into somebody. If he can get to pit road without tearing the thing all to pieces.
He's going awfully fast for that, I think, Darrell, don't you?
It's going to be close. She's coming apart right now. He's on pit road, so he's going to be okay.
But the penalty for pitting too soon is tailing the longest line. You get a feeling maybe he's running too fast down pit road. Penalty, tailing the longest line.
So how far back can you restart?
Exactly.
Tail into the longest line.
You see he goes into turn 3 here. He's in the middle of the corner, and all of a sudden I noticed well, actually, this is coming off of turn 4. The thing had already shot up the track with him. And now he goes down here to turn 1, and he knows he's got a tire down right there. just lucky he didn't crash.
Matt's in his pit.
And Mikey is pulling out of the pit box. Now, they decided to take the penalty, come down when pit road was closed, because they were concerned that with no interliner and that car down, that they were going to hurt the car more chassis-wise, grinding off something in that right front. They decided to pit now and fix their problem. Steve?
Matt, a chassis adjustment for Elliott Sadler. 1 round down in the right rear. He's saying his car is still tight from the center off. 4 tires. Jeannie.
The decision for the 33 of Tony Stewart to go ahead and pit because they can make it from here. Loaded up on fuel, Busch Hilton, the crew chief told them, and 4 tires on their track bar adjustment, Dick.
Greg Biffle is in. He's going to take right side tires. Meanwhile, assisting in Carl Edwards. A very late decision for him to stay out, and that has given Carl Edwards the lead to this race.
Yeah, we had about 7 or 8 cars that were on the lead lap, including Martin Truex Jr., Shane Mill, Michael Waltrip, and Carl Edwards, that elected to stay out. But we do pretty much know those cars that just pitted, they can make it to the end on fuel.
Right. This is a perfect time for a caution for a lot of these guys. They're good to go.
92 laps to go in the Bashas Supermarkets 200.
Rookie Carl Edwards, the leader in Busch points, the leader here under our 9th caution. 35 cars on the lead lap, Jeff.
Yeah, and what that means, Chris, if you think about Denny Hamlin having that tire go down, pitting early, he'll have to start at the back of the longest line. So that's going to put him way back in there. He's not going to slide his way back up along with guys like Reed Sorensen. So it's going to be interesting watching these cars charge back to the front.
Reed Sorensen had to make an extra pit stop for lug nut, restarted in the back.
And actually, Hamlin just goes by here now. He came back in the pits trying to get that fender pulled out a little bit more, so he lost even more time.
Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car up here battling for the lead with Carl Edwards in the 60 car. Now, both of these cars were on pit road last at lap 73, so a little older tires for these guys. We're running with Shane Mill right now in the 32 car. He's in 3rd. He was on pit road at lap 86.
Truex will be the race's 6th different leader.
And we pretty much know the front 2, Martin Truex Jr. in the 8, Carl Edwards in the 60, they will have to make another pit stop.
Greg Biffle battling J.J. Yaley, who cut his racing teeth at Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix, at Canyon Raceway in Peoria, driving sprint cars and midgets, owned and raced by his dad also, Cactus Jack Yaley.
And of the cars that we think can make it to the end, Greg Biffle in the 66, Tony Stewart in the 33 car, we feel like those cars can make it. And that car right up there, the orange car, J.J. Yaley, he won the battle off pit road right then. Fuel only for that car.
Man, that 34 car, yeah, I'm telling you what, he had Tony Stewart on one side and Biffle on the other. He didn't know what to do. He did a pretty darn good job just holding his line.
It's Randy LaJoy with Kevin Harvick now moving underneath. Here's Jeannie.
Well, Larry Mack, you're a crew chief, so you can explain this. I guess you tell your driver you can make it from here, and then once you fill up, you follow up with statements like, you know, why don't you save some fuel? You know, why don't you back off a little bit? And then Busch Hilton finally said to Tony Stewart, look, go as hard as you want from here. Just get to the front. When you get up there, then I guess they're going to worry about fuel conservation, guys.
Well, I think the biggest thing, Jeannie, what Busch Hilton was trying to tell him as we see him battling Justin Labonte in the 44 car is, you know, save as much as you can under caution. That's when you can save fuel. The way these guys are racing right down the green, there's no way they can think about saving fuel.
And they're staying so bunched up, Larry, and cars are all over the place right now. There's going to be another caution.
How's that look about it?
We just had, when you have all these cautions, you're going to have more cautions.
.84 laps to go. Truex over Carl Edwards by a car length to Bergman.
with Brad Parrott, and he is Carl Edwards' crew chief. You've had a contrarian strategy all night long. When the leaders are pitting, you stay out. When they stay out, you pit. Why?
Well, it's all about pit strategy here, and just doesn't seem like the thing to do. You got the gut feeling tonight that we're making the right pit calls in the World Financial Pit. Thanks for them being on board this weekend, and just our hearts are still with John Reiser, you know, but his heart's with me because he's telling me to do the right thing tonight.
You got enough fuel to make it to the end?
No. We know we got to pit one more time, and I'm pretty sure everybody else does. I don't think you want to run 85 laps on these tires, 90 laps. We'll pit with 50 to go like everybody else will. We'll be in the right pit position.
That's Brad Parrott. He's Carl Edwards' crew chief.
I believe there's some guys out there planning on going to the end.
Yeah, I don't know if he's I don't know about the tire situation. That I would think this tire would be good to go the distance, and we know some of these guys are making on fuel, so I think that's what I'd be worried about if I were him.
Casey Kane and Johnny Sauter on the inside, Justin Labonte on the outside with Jamie McMurray 64. And this is back at 16th position.
And Justin Labonte, the 44 car, he's one of the cars that elected to stay out on that last caution. He was up in the top 10, but now he continues to lose position. We need to update Reed Sorensen in the 41 car. Had to make an extra pit stop a while ago because they had a lug nut missing after they made the first stop under caution.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty impressed with the guys that are running 4th and 5th. Michael's running 4th, and Stanton Barrett in the 36 car has got himself up there in the top 5, doing a pretty nice job right now.
They made multiple pit stops with that car. Ricky Pearson, the crew chief, but they elected to stay out under that last caution.
Kevin Harvick looking over at Kenny Wallace, 10th place at stake here.
Got a smoker here off of 4.
Tough break for Eric McClure, who had done a good job of staying on the lead lap all night.
Got a tear off here on the straightaway. I don't know. The smoke's not going to be a problem. I don't know about that tear off lane there, though.
Windshield tear off. We've seen all year long that gets across the front nose of a car. It'll cook that thing. Cuts all the airflow off to the radiator.
McClure gets it down to the apron without incident. We're going to stay green as that blows away.
Yeah, it flew over to the inside of the front straightaway wall here, so he should be all right if he can make it back around.
Like he will make it.
Good. Oil pressure was good, and it just dropped.
Sound like engine problems. See what Greg Biffle in the 66 car continues that march to the front. Goes by Mike Waltrip in the 99 car. That's a battle for 4th position. He will take the position.
Now, of all the things we see in night racing, that fire coming out of those exhaust pipes, to me, that's the best. Flames, real flames.
And Darrell, what that is actually where they're somewhat part throttling it, and it's just raw fuel burning the exhaust pipe. No problem exists.
You want raw? You want an all-new episode of The Shield coming on FX. I'm hooked on that show. Michael Chiklis and Glenn Close, the dynamic between the tension between those two.
When they added Glenn Close, that made that show that much better. She is so cool.
See the battle for 6th position here. Stanton Barrett in the 36 car, J.J. Yaley in the 18. J.J. really not on fresh tires, but we feel like he may have enough fuel to go to the end. Pitted for fuel only on that last stop.
And Barrett, who falls in line behind Yaley, poised for his best finish of the year, which so far was 19th in Mexico.
And his best friend is coming up behind him right there, Tony, and he had a little run-in over to Texas. And it'll be interesting to see how Stanton and Tony negotiate with each other here.
Clean pass by Stewart to the inside. Barrett gave him plenty of room. Meanwhile, David Stremme gives way to the 1 of Johnny Sauter.
Right now, this could be the best run that Johnny Sauter in one car that those guys have had all year long. Of course, had the carburetor problems at Texas last week, disqualified from the race, points and money. Joe Shear Jr., the crew chief, pending a 4-race suspension that'll be appealed this Tuesday. So, you know, this is a good run for this group after all that. We see Joe Nemechek in the 87 go to the inside of Kenny Wallace in the 22. Those guys are battling for 11th position right now.
Martin Truex, a winner in Mexico, the defending champion of the series, out in front now by 1 second. Janie.
Truex started the night with his crew chief, Kevin Mannion, telling him, look, just relax. We built a lot of adjustability into this car, and that is what we have seen. Multiple pit stops, basically a science project out here, and we're seeing it all come to fruition. And we're also seeing the appearance of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the pits, and Martin told me in the pre-race they finally decided to let Junior come back. I know, doesn't make sense to not let the boss in the building, but Martin said he felt for a while that Junior was actually a jinx, the bad luck charm, so they didn't want to let him back in. But they thought tonight was going to be the turning point, so they welcomed him back. Not trouble.
Michelle Jourdain back in the race, turned around.
Caution's out. Somebody got into the back of him that
Sure
time.
did, Darrell.
Run him around.
Darrell, I'll tell you, it took a long time for the field to lift out of the throttle. I mean, they were flying past Jourdain, and it's a good thing that car didn't spin up the racetrack.
I am just not a big fan of sending a race car back out on the racetrack when only half of it's there.
Now, he was not uncompetitive. He was running along on the bottom of the racetrack and pretty much out of harm's way for the most part.
Well, I don't know about that. He got turned around.
Well, let's see.
He got in somebody's way. See who it is back here. Somebody gets into him.
Pretty low on the racetrack.
Like Casey Kane maybe in the 6th car, pole sitter.
I think you're right, Larry.
Now what this is going to set up, I feel like that 4 of our top 5, Michael Waltrip, Shane Mill, Carl Edwards, Martin Truex Jr., I feel like those guys will have to come to pit road because they can make it from here on fuel. But I think Greg Biffle in the 66 car will stay out because he has enough fuel and he only has 20 laps on his tires.
Good strategy on their part. That caution fell for them just right that they waited on.
Yaley stays out, so does Stewart, Elliott Sadler, Kevin Harvick, Joe Nemechek, Sauter, Wallace, and others. Jeannie?
Well, a bit of a surprise in the 8 pit as they said, gentleman racing all by himself, Rex. Now we have to rethink our philosophy here. Car a little bit tight, so yes, indeed, you see he's in getting air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and fuel. Dick?
Carl Edwards has called the changes that he wants to his car. He's not going to get all of them. He called late that he wanted a little more air taken out of the right rear tire, but he had gone too far down pit road to get it. They just didn't have enough time to get it accomplished. Slow on the left rear in Carl Edwards' car. Now he has enough fuel to go all the way.
But I think the problem, we have 70 laps to go. We have 33, 34 cars on the lead lap, and we only had about 8 to 10 cars that pitted. So these guys are going to be way back in the field in a short time to get back to the front.
That's what I was worried about, Larry. You know, with all these cars on the lead lap, and you come into the pit now, I mean, you got your work cut out for you, buddy. You're going to have to get it done.
And Ashton Lewis is back on the lead lap. He gets the free pass again. Somebody's daughter is 6. Happy birthday, Hannah. Green flag. Greg Biffle, J.J. Yaley, Tony Stewart, Elliott Sadler, Kevin Harvick. They all stayed out. So did about the first dozen or so.
About 15 cars stayed out. Because right now, Martin Truex Jr. is back in 16th. He won the battle on pit road with the cars that pitted.
So this could really get interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we knew it would with the pit cycles that these guys have chosen.
There you see Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car. All those cars pretty much behind him, including Carl Edwards in the 60. Pitted that time, and there you see Denny Hamlin up there in the 20 car. Remember, he almost hit the turn 1 wall not too many laps ago, had a right front go down.
Third place, Elliott Sadler, Tony Stewart side by side heading for turn number 3. Sadler trying to make the pass on the outside. Stewart trying to deny him the spot, can't do it.
Elliott Sadler in the 90 gets just a good enough run off the corner. Look at that, it's 3 wide down the front straightaway. Carl Edwards in the 60, John Wooden the 47, Denny Hamlin in the 20.
Where did Hamlin think he was going?
Forward.
Not very long.
He knows the laps are winding down.
Man, he had that thing with 3 wide coming down the front straightaway here. That wasn't very good looking.
Paul Menard in the 11 car going by Casey Kane in the 6. This is a battle for 9th. And Reed Sorensen in the 41 trying to overcome that pit problem a while ago with a missing lug nut.
Oh, around goes somebody.
John Wood into the fence, turn 2. He's going to hold it off the wall.
Somebody got him going down in there. I'm not sure who it was. I think we're hearing it may have been the 20.
So one more coming back. Okay, you're okay.
Likely contact from Denny Hamlin. You see the left front of the rookie John Woods car torn up.
Hamlin is pretty aggressive right now. He's forcing himself right up through there.
11th caution of the night. And let's show it to you. Turn 1.
It's him on the inside there. Denny Hamlin down on the inside in the 20 car. You can see he got a little smoke coming off that right front still. Looks like he might have bottomed out, bounced a little bit, got into John Wood.
And Wood was having one of the best races of his rookie season. Watching from Shane Meal.
You see that 20 car kind of do a little pop as he got down in there. Smoke poured off the right front and into the East Avenue went.
From Michael Waltrip.
There's a good look at it right there.
From David Stratton.
Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Hold on.
It'd take a whole lot to turn him around.
Yellow.
Like that 20 still got, he had a little damage, and he's got some more now. That's what got him in trouble to start with.
Several interesting colors on that fender. As we work the 11th caution flag of the evening in Phoenix. We restarted. We ran about 3 laps, and Carl Edwards gets together with Martin Truex. They spin in turn number 4, and that'll be the 12th caution of the night and lap 142.
Didn't hurt either car, but the problem is they're back in about 34th and 5th place.
Let's show you from Shane Meal's view, and he's gotten to see a lot of this tonight.
Whoa.
And to his credit, hasn't been involved in any of it. Michael Waltrip.
Come on with it. There you go.
Mikey's seen a lot of action
Behind you
tonight.
there.
He certainly has.
Mark Green spun down to the bottom to miss this after the incident happened, and don't see much damage.
There doesn't seem to be any issues because they're kind of staying off each other. They're both going to come to pit road.
You want issues? Longest green flag run tonight, a whole 17 laps. And there is a reason. And it's endemic to short track racing. It's historic, and it happens every time there's a full moon. When the full moon's out, caution flags fly.
Yeah, and that only happens at night.
Well, yeah. Gee.
Strange how that works, isn't it? And also strange for Martin Truex, who, like the rest of us, was in the dark saying, what the heck was that? And spotter saying, look, I think he just drove up into you. He's basically coming in now for tires. This car does not look that bad. Dick?
Carl Edwards is pitting. He's got plenty of tires. Why not? Throw a fresh shed on, put a little bit more gas in the car. They are trying to get the nose of this car squared away. Not a big aerodynamic racetrack, but Brad Parrott, the crew chief's calling for hammer. Crew's banging on the nose of the car with their fist. Jack is down at this point. They're doing a little bit of tape work at the front, trying to pull out the sheet metal in the back. And Carl Edwards is going, what an adventuresome night this guy has had. When everybody else pits, he doesn't. Now, all of a sudden, a crash. It ain't over yet, though.
But, Dick, you got to bail me out here. Of all the short tracks you've been to over all these years, have you ever seen a caution-free feature on a full moon Friday or Saturday night?
No, but someday I'm sure I will. I haven't yet.
Tonight is not the night. Here's another look at what happened in turn 4.
I don't know, but that's 2 professionals right there.
And they just had made it back into the top 10.
Look at that.
Almost looked like synchronized spinning.
It did.
Let's try this again. Biffle the leader. Sadler, who steamed around the outside for second. Yaley, Harvick, and Stewart are the top 5. Sauter, Kenny Wallace, Reed Sorensen, Paul Menard, and Jason Keller, the top 10.
But I think our problem...
Well, here we go. Here we go.
Reed Sorensen, the 41 car. McMurray, the 64 car.
32 cars, the whole crowd.
At least 5 cars piled up.
The worst restarts tonight I think I've seen all year long.
A lot of
ever.
damage on this 41 car. You see all the damage on Jamie McMurray, the 64 car. Remember, Reed Sorensen, came into this race second in points. Looked like he had an opportunity to really capitalize on that with the problems that Carl Edwards had.
And a lot of right front damage on Shane Meal as well. There's Meal's car.
Of the hour and 54 minutes this race has been going, an hour and 12 minutes has been under caution.
And 7 minutes under red.
Timekeeper.
One more time on the restart. Somebody doesn't get going.
Nobody.
Way up in the front. Nobody
Greg
went.
Biffle, our leader of the 66, didn't get going.
Very slow restart for Biffle, and everything stacks up behind him until there's nowhere to go.
Looked like it really started when Kenny Wallace in the 22 got to the back of Johnny Sauter in the 1, but really no one up in even front of them got going.
Let's ride with Kenny.
That's where the real problem started right there.
You're good. You're good. You're good. Caution's out. Caution's out.
Now this is Shane Meal, and he got some of the worst of it.
Oh, David Strimming, the 14, got in the left side of him.
Michael Waltrip's view behind Denny Henry.
Stacking up. Stacking up. Here, just watch them. All over the bottom.
Wow. Good getaway. How about David Stremme? Let's ride with the Navy car.
Green.
4.
Back it down here. Back it down. Back it down. Watch this. Yellow's out. Hit the door. Anything here? You're okay. You're okay.
Restart like that, nowhere is safe.
Well, and the straightaway's narrow here, you know, with that inside wall. There's not a lot of room here, so you're going to involve a lot of cars.
See Reed Sorensen behind the wall, a lot of repairs. Remember, came into this race second points. He's finished on the lead lap in 10 consecutive races, but that streak will come to an end tonight.
53 laps to go. Let's go back down to Chris and Jeff.
All right, Mike, 13 cautions a record for this race here in Phoenix. Adding on to it, it started early on lap 8 when Greg Biffle, the winner last week's Cup race at Texas, spun out, but later led on lap 45. Tyler Walker initiates. Jeffrey Bodine involved in this wreck that brought out the red flag. Kevin Harvick lost some 28 positions when they didn't tell him pit road was closed. He went into pit, but later worked his way back into the top 10. Then a Hamlin leading for a while in the 20 car with a flat tire deflates his hopes. Carl Edwards, as we get the onboard look at the 60 car, and Martin Truex moments ago mixed it up, bringing out the 12th caution. And in the restart, we have the 13th caution. So far, Greg Biffle has led the most laps. You see what happened moments ago. And Biffle and Elliott Sadler, your leaders at the moment, in a couple of Fords with about 52 laps to go. It's been crazy go nuts here. It's like bumper cars at a Friday night carnival.
Oh, man, it's full moon Friday. What are you talking about? There's a lot of weird things coming on.
Including out here getting hungry or just reacting to the moon. All right, so we know where we've been. How about what's left and what we have to look forward to?
What we got to look forward to right now, Greg Biffle has found his way back up in the lead once again. He's being followed very closely by Elliott Sadler, and there's a lot of guys that are still charging with the number of laps we got left. We got 52 laps to go, so we can still say about anything, happen as far as that's concerned.
How much of this is the unknown factor, and how much is it just guys driving a little bit too antsy?
It could be just what you might say Friday night racing under the lights. A lot of times these guys kind of pulled up another notch, but a lot of the unknowns tonight, I think, have been the racetrack. You see cars break loose in a hurry, and the next thing you know, they get themselves in trouble.
All right, Shane Meal, one of those guys. Let's get a report out, and Matt Yoakum is standing by with that. Matt?
And Shane Meal is helping his team try to get this car prepared to get back out there. What happened, Shane?
I don't know. Somebody missed a shift. It's unfortunate. The Winfield Chevrolet was actually, it was good. We qualified terrible. The guys did good. We had a great pit strategy and had to wreck this, and somebody come by and hit us on the side. It's unfortunate. Winfield Chevrolet was great. Go to Walgreens and get them Winfield multivitamins because we need them to keep this car on the track.
All right, so still a chance to plug his sponsor as a red flag has come out here with 52 laps to go, and Greg Biffle leading in Phoenix. Nice to have you along for the ride.
Cautions and 2 red flags tonight. The cars are stopped as the track is blown clean of debris. The record for Busch Series caution flags, the 3rd mile at Hickory, North Carolina, 1992, 26 yellow flags to get through that 300 lapper. We speculated that something happened to Greg Biffle on that restart to stack up the cars behind him. Here's what he told his crew, as we'll let Greg talk you through it.
I feel like I caused that partly because of 90 hung back and then got a run at my bumper and bumped into the back of me before I went. So he had to check up. I maintained my speed. They're just lagging back, wanting to get a jump on me.
That's what you do. You try to anticipate the start. If you know, if you're a leader, you're going to start somewhere different every time. And if you're behind the leader, then you're going to try to anticipate where that's going to be.
Now you saw Jamie McMurray's 64 get banged through there. He's been watching this replay with Matt.
And he's not going to win back-to-back races here at Phoenix this weekend. Now, you saw the video. Let's run through it one more time. What happened, Jamie?
Yeah, it's hard to say when you're that far back in line. You just are trying to get out of the way, and you're trying to get a run of the guys. It's really easy to pass up on the outside of turn 1, and you know, I like back and got a little bit of a run, and when you see the cars go down to the bottom, you're just trying to get away, and you're committed. There's nothing you can do. So very unfortunate. This is it's a really fun place to race, and honestly, it's hard to pass, but you can pass. And we had some tires at the end along with a few other cars. It's just frustrating. That's a tough day.
Were you able to gain any information carry over for tomorrow night's race?
You know, even though I won the Busch race here last year, I don't feel like this is a very good racetrack for me. I usually struggle in turns 3 and 4, and I learned a lot this evening about how to pass on the outside. I've never been able to do that. So learned some stuff from my car for tomorrow night, and the racetrack is definitely a little bit different than what I expected it to be, and I think a lot of people expected it to be from the nighttime versus daytime.
Let's go to Chris.
All right, thanks. These are the drivers who are involved. Johnny Sauter, Paul Menard, who started on the front row. Kelvin Harvick, who had fallen way back and then worked his way back up into the top 10. Kenny Wallace, who was optimistic about tonight. His brother Rusty was with us on the pre-race show. Reed Sorensen running second in points, and you just heard from Jamie McMurray.
Well, right now what we're looking at, we just restarted the cars, so the cars that were damaged, I think we saw that Shane Mill was trying to do some work on his car, and NASCAR kind of waved him off. And the reason for that was when they went to red flag again, you can't work on the car, but now they're getting ready to open up pit road. A lot of the cars that have damage will come down on pit road, change the tires, pull the fenders off of that, and hopefully be able to continue.
What did you make of Greg Biffle's communication?
It was a pretty good assessment of what went on. He was making his own pace. He is the leader. He can set the speed coming to the green right there. And as he said, the 90 car, Bellick Sadler, was trying to make a run on him. It got in the back of him and kind of started a chain reaction. And this type of a deal, it seems like it gets worse the further back it goes. And the guys like Jamie McMurray, Reed Sorensen, to name a few, they got definitely the brunt of it. As we watch the 41 car led by Brian Patty and his crew, they're trying to make repairs to Reed Sorensen and get him back out because he was second points and gaining on Carl Edwards.
Talked about the record number of cautions for this race. Excuse me, Jeff. We also have the slowest average speed, just over 80 miles per hour, having something to do with a full moon.
There's the culprit right there. Let's just blame it on the full moon because it is Friday night, full moon. Racing under the lights, a lot of drivers will tell you they get a little more aggressive, they get a little more intense, and that could be some of what's going on here.
And you heard Jamie McMurray talk about what he might gather from this for tomorrow night. What have you gathered so far?
That we're going to have one wild race tomorrow night. I think things are going to be just as aggressive, just as exciting when all this here kind of comes to play.
And that'll be 7:30 Eastern on Fox. Let's check in on Reed Sorensen with Matt Yoka. Matt?
And Reed Sorensen sitting in the car. He has no idea what took place during that crash. He is going to look at the video to get an idea. Let's go ahead and roll it from the truck for Reed. Here you go, Reed.
Well, I don't see nothing yet. Yeah, it looks like the 21 car or somebody up there in front of us may have missed a gear or something.
Another angle for you.
Yeah, let's look from this one. just looked like everybody checked up, and I got into Kenny a little bit, and then the 11 car just nailed me from behind. I was kind of the meat in the sandwich there, so can't really do much about that.
This is really the first hiccup this year in what's been a very good year.
Yeah, it happens. We got a lot more races to go, and my guys are working their butts off here to get this car out of here, so we'll just do what we can.
They have cut, Mike Joy, pretty much everything off the front of this race car. Entered here second in the championship standings and wheeled it down to double digits behind Carl Edwards.
We're back under green.
Well, right now, if they get the 41 car out, Carl Edwards is in 28th place. Now, he's going to be able to move forward, sure, but Sorensen right now, if he got going again, he could end up being about 32nd.
And Greg Biffle in the 66, he didn't lag back on that restart. He stretched it out over Elliott Sadler in the 90 car.
Let's have a look at the effect of all these 13 caution flags on Busch Series points. Reed Sorensen trying to hang on to second place. And it looks like he will do so as things sit right this minute. But a lot of the cars that were damaged are back in the race, including Boston Reed, Jeffrey Modine, Michel Jourdain. And some of the drivers that have gotten back on or stayed on the lead lap having great runs tonight, like Stanton Barrett, Curtis Davis, Brent Sherman, who's been in multiple cautions, John Wood, who got turned around, Ashton Lewis was 5 laps down. They're all still on the lead lap.
Pretty impressed with this run by J.J. Yeley in the 18 car. Had a great qualifying run earlier today, qualified 4th. Little older tires on that car. We know he has enough fuel to go to the end, but pretty much he's holding off Kevin Harvick in the 21 car. J.J. up in the 3rd spot.
I tell you, I like Harvick's car. Looks really good, Larry, and you know, he's had to overcome a penalty there a little while ago, and he's got himself back up in the top 5, and he looks like he's got something for these guys.
He's got to get by that 18 car first, because right now that little white dot's getting smaller and smaller out there. That's Greg Biffle, the 66, our leader.
Got 45 laps to do it, and I think he might be able to get up there.
Steve Burns on the 2nd place car.
Mike Elliott Sadler likes his race car. He says he can pretty much point it and drive it wherever he wants. Now, these caution flags, the last 2 caution flags have helped him a lot, because he was very iffy on whether or not he could make it on gas, but they do think they can make it to the end.
Yeah, I think all of these cars that were maybe a little concerned, Steve, we've had enough cautions. I talked earlier, it's about 2 cautions to 1 green lap. I think definitely everyone should be safe for these final 43 laps on fuel at least.
Drive to watch Denny Hamlin moving on Paul Menard. This is at 9th place.
Just pretty impressed with the run for Denny Hamlin in the 20, working his way back up, had that right front go down, brought the caution out. He was able to stay on the lead lap, and now he's working to get back into the top 10. And we talked about this young man earlier, the 36 car, Stanton Barrett. Up there goes by Paul Menard in 11. That's for 11th position. This is a great run for this race team and for Stanton Barrett.
Harvick's going to get Yaley coming off turn number 2. That's going to be the pass for 3rd place.
I think once he gets by him, Harvick gets by Yaley, I believe he can chase down these front 2. His car looks fast to me.
Yeah, Stanton Barrett in the 36, the only Pontiac in the field.
I like what Stanton said over at Texas. You know, he said, hey, man, I'm not out there just riding around. He had a great run going at Mexico, and he's got a great run going tonight. He's trying hard. He's getting all out of his equipment he can.
Now we have Tony Stewart, the 33 car, working on J.J. Yaley for the 4th spot. J.J. got a good run off turn 2 on the high side, kept the position.
See Tony get the left side way down on the apron. That's just a lot of grip down there, and it helps the car turn.
Harvick was the fastest car that lap, but he's got a ways to go. 3 seconds to run down Elliott Sadler and Greg Biffle. As you look from Kenny Wallace.
Oh, got one in the wall down here.
Hard hit for Randy LaJoy. The Dollar General Chevy. He's going to come off turn 2 and coast down to the apron after wiping the right front off his car.
I think he had a right front going. It looked like he may have had a right front problem going into 1 down there. Man, he hit hard. Look at that. Baby is caved in.
was a hard lick. And I feel like Kevin Harvick, the 21 car, he's going to be at least glad to see this caution flag, because that will catch him up to Elliott Sadler in the 90 and Greg Biffle in the 66.
Coming right at us here. You
see
can
the
see
right
right
front.
there, he just falls down, and he's along for the ride at that point.
As soon as he started to turn in, Darrell, it went right down to the rim, didn't it?
Just load that tire up a little bit. She was soft, and it blew it out.
Fourteen caution flags light up the night here in Phoenix. You're watching NASCAR on FX. Well, the concern has been where the sun would be in the driver's eyes at sunset. I hope we don't have to worry about where the sun will be at sunrise before we get these next 36 laps in. But it has been a night of caution flags, 14 of them. The most recent, Randy LaJoie cutting down a tire at the entry to turn 1 and pounding the wall. What will be tonight's Win Fuel winning edge? Perhaps Greg Biffle's run after bringing out the first caution of the night with this solo spin at lap 9. Got him off sequence, got him 4 fresh tires, and when everyone else pitted, Biffle assumed the lead, and here he sits at 164 laps. He has led 76 of them.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
Now, Martin Truex Jr. pitted under this caution, and that will make him 31st, the last car on the lead lap. And the first time in.
Looks like they're not deciding if they want to change tires. They're just going to get the sheet metal off the tire. Actually, nothing happened then.
Who called this pit stop anyway?
Well, since then, he's been in twice more.
They got issues right there. Maybe they don't have any tires.
You also saw that Paul Menard, the 11 car in there. He'd been running in the top 10 most of the night.
And here are all the drivers that we'll see tomorrow night in prime time on Fox in high definition and surround sound in the Nextel Cup race. First time spring cup race at Phoenix, first time under the lights.
7 of our top 10 right now.
I think we may have to call this restart off. There's a safety truck right down here in the straightaway. Front straightaway, just riding along, kind of like he doesn't know that the race is getting ready to restart.
Yeah, one in the backstretch as well, Darrell. So
that's the only thing we hadn't hit tonight, the safety truck.
Yet.
Get ready to do that.
They waved off the restart and give them 1 to go again this time. Greg Biffle, your leader, with 34 laps to go. Green flag. Greg Biffle leads Elliott Sadler, Kevin Harvick, J.J. Yeley, and Tony Stewart with 33 laps to go.
Riding with Kevin Harvick right now, I think if he has a shot at Greg Biffle in the 66, he's going to have to put his 90 car, Elliott Sadler, away pretty quick.
I was just saying about that restart where we wrecked all those cars. As many as we've had tonight, you're bound to have a bad one sometime.
I saw David Strimmy in the 14 car drove by Johnny Sauter in the 1. That was a battle for 6th position, no longer a battle. Good run for David Strimmy tonight. Went train with the Navy SEALs this week.
I think what's happening at the front up here, Larry, the 21 car Harvick is putting the pressure on Sadler, which means he's going to have to turn up the heat on Biffle. All of a sudden, Sadler looks like he's found a little bit different line he wants to run, and it's really helping him.
He's like the high side, Darrell, from turn 2 to turn 3, and he comes off 2 with a full head of steam. He's been doing his passing on the outside, but now is that 90 car on offense or defense?
I just think that Harvick's there now, and he's got to go. If he's got anything, he's going to have to go. He may have just been saving a little something, but now he realizes, man, I've got to have to get the job done now.
This is about as much pressure as we've seen Elliott Sadler in the 90 put on Greg Biffle in the 66 right now. But, boy, these cars are under a blanket right now, Steve Burns.
Larry, back before the last caution came out, Elliott Sadler said, I think I'm too tight to run with Greg Biffle. Todd Barrett said, just take it easy on your tires. You'll be all right.
Don't want to abuse it right front.
And a getaway. Denny Hamlin got in the back of Johnny Sauter, and I thought Sauter was headed for the fence. They all got away.
He did a great job. Sauter did a saving that thing.
Yeah.
He was going for a ride.
It was almost caution 15. Here's a look at it.
Hamlin's been pretty aggressive ever since he had that problem and had to go to the rear and started back up through there.
And I'm sorry, it was Sauter-Loos and Nemechek getting into the back of him, not Hamlin.
Johnny Sauter is going to lose about 3 or 4 or 5 positions, but it was going to be a lot more than that had he not saved it.
Sauter looking for his first top 10 since Memphis last October. And now he's going to have to climb back up a few spots to get it. Reed Sorensen is back in the race, and Shane Neal will return to the race to try to pick up some points here. They are both 24 laps down.
I'll tell you who came from a long way back in a hurry is Carl Edwards. He's in 13th spot now, and he was restarted back there in about 25th place a little bit ago.
But this team does such a great job at that week in and week out, Darrell. When they get a little bit behind, they have no problem making it back to the top 10 or the top 5 before the checkered flag.
And you can see he's really taking his time. He's not forcing himself by Johnny Sauter. Just kind of finding him a line here.
Well, Sauter's got a handful, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
And just remember, Carl Edwards has quite a bit fresher tires than most of these guys, because after him and Martin Truex Jr. and the 8 car got together, he pitted on lap 143, so he has about 35 or 40 less laps on his tires.
Well, right behind them, Justin Labonte got into the back of Kenny Wallace and drops a couple of spots as he recovers.
I tell you, speaking of recovery, we just talked about Kenny Wallace, but we just looked at Clint Boyer in the 2 car right behind Carl Edwards. Big crash over off turn 2 early. Remember, he comes in here 3rd in points, and he's up there trying to get back to the top 10.
That number 2 has completed every lap we've run this year, and he's still out there on the lead lap. Let's show you that that last bump and run. Wallace inside Justin Labonte. Tries to squeeze up into a hole that wasn't quite there. Everybody got away. 25 laps to go. John Wood in front of this group, running in 14th. In the number 47. Truex trying to climb the ladder. Working on him on the outside.
And Mark Truex Jr. has a little fresher tires as well, a lot like Carl Edwards in the 60 car. Got those tires back on lap 143.
Looks like Biffle's kind of pulling away from Elliott Sadler now. It looks like the tires kind of came in and got a little heat back in them, and he's been able to pull away.
I won't tell you the guy that's on the move, and he just ran the fastest lap he's ran in this race. David Strimmy in the 14 car, riding here with him in the Navy car. He's up to the 4th position, just went by J.J. Yaley, and he's running lap times right now as quick as Greg Biffle.
No pressure.
Cars that have just run their fastest lap of the race within the last 5 laps include Harvick, Stremme, Joe Nemechek in 8th, and David Green in 11th.
Tony Stewart going by J.J. Yaley in the 18 car. This is a battle for 5th. I think now J.J. Yaley's paying the price because he has more laps on his tires than anyone running up there with him right now.
Sure looks that way, Larry. He's kind of falling back here. He's got Michael right behind him now. Michael's running in the 7th spot. Michael Waltrip in the 99 car, the old hot dog car. Doing a good job tonight.
Tony Stewart moves back up into the top 5, Jeannie.
And he's making a charge. Came on the radio during the caution basically to say, look, I think I can get everybody else, but I'm not going to get the big boss. So I'm going to make my move.
And that would be Kevin Harvick in the 21 car that owns that 33 car that Tony Stewart's driving.
And more traffic jams out here. Jason Keller gets the boot from Jerry Robertson.
I don't think there's a car in this race that doesn't have damage on it. I mean, they have beat and banged on each other all over this racetrack.
And this group right there, they are battling for position back about 20th or 21st.
Yep, there's Michael J.J. and Joe Nemechek, and Joe's been kind of moving up through the field, too.
Yeah, and his car looks pretty clean of contact. Nemechek's does, the 87. Tomorrow night, partly under the lights, the Subway Fresh 500 on Fox. Inside of 20 laps remaining. Biffle with a 1.5 second lead on Elliott Sadler. Kevin Harvick another 1 second back. David Stremme 3 seconds off the lead. Let's go to Biffle's pit. Dick Berggren.
Yeah, I just want to remind you guys, the last time Biffle took tires was lap 108. He took rights only, and he's hanging on to this car just fine. That says a lot about tires and Biffle's ability to hang on to a race car.
Hanging on, Dick, that's a mild statement because he's been the fastest car on the track each of the last 4 or 5 laps.
But Dick, I think, and Mike, I think these guys, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, they knew that this was a lot like the tire that they ran last year. Get those tires on there as close to your fuel window as you can and go to the end. Keep that track position.
Yeah, this is the same tire that ran here last year, Larry. So, and it proved last year with Dale Jr. that it was a very durable tire.
So tonight it's track position, not fresh tires. What about tomorrow night with the Nextel Cup race on Fox?
Just remember, they run the same tire that these boys run, and everybody's watching very closely right now.
And tomorrow night is 500 kilometers.
That's still a long race here.
312 laps
yes.
/ miles.
Nemechek trying Michael Waltrip as you watch from the Aaron's onboard camp.
It looks like Joe is probably a little bit better than Michael, and that's a battle for a 6th spot right now.
If Michael can hang on to 6th, it'll be his best Busch Series finish of this season.
Joe just running that low line. He just cannot complete the pass.
You just get bogged down. You get pinched down by the car on the outside, and man, you got to be really careful. Now he's got the better line here in 3 and 4.
And not too far behind these guys, Martin Truex Jr., our 2004 Busch Series champion. Remember, back on lap 143, he and Carl Edwards, they were laid up against the outside wall, and he's made a nice recovery, a little fresher tires. He's up to 12th, trying to get back to the top 10. Carl Edwards, in fact, our points leader, is just in front of him. Again, these cars here have about 30 or 35 less laps on their tires than all the guys up in the front. Carl Edwards has finished every race this year in the top 10, so he'd like to get one more position. The next position would be Stanton Barrett in the 36.
That's in Greg Biffle's pit. He leads this race by 2 seconds over Elliott Sadler.
I think that just shows you, Mike, that I don't care how good you are, it's never over till it's over, and you never relax till you're standing in victory circle. Think back to earlier this year at Las Vegas with Carl Edwards just kind of running away from the field, and all of a sudden he has a flat tire with about 5 or 6 laps to go.
Denny Hamlin, Stanton Barrett, both on the lead lap after a busy night, and both in the top 10, running 8.5 seconds off the lead.
Right now, Denny Hamlin has his hands full of Stanton Barrett in the 36, but a lot like we watched Michael Waltrip a while ago in the 99, Denny Hamlin running the high side gets that run off turn 2 down the backstretch.
Barrett put out a press release this week inviting Tony Stewart to meet him in the media center here and review the tape of what happened last week when Stewart had some harsh words for Barrett, who got into the back of Tony after he had to check up, and a resulting caution that put Stewart out of the race. I think Barrett came in here intending to show the world that he's a better driver than Tony Stewart thinks he is, and he has. Stanton's had a great run tonight for running the top 10.
Plus, he comes here with a Pontiac, the only Pontiac in the field. That is kind of like, whoa, what's he thinking? But obviously, he was thinking that it was going to be a good race car, and it has been.
We were talking about David Stremme a while ago. Right now, he's in the 14 car in 4th position. He's zooming in on that orange car up there, Kevin Harvick in the 21.
10 laps to go.
Greg Biffle puts our pole sitter, Casey Kane, the 6th car a lap down. We now have 26 cars on the lead lap.
And Martin Truex passes Carl Edwards, the point leader. That's for 11th place. And he may get Stanton Barrett.
I think he probably will. His tires are much better than those guys in front of him right now.
In fact, those are all lead lap cars just ahead of Truex, except for the 7 there of Scott Gaylord, the yellow car.
Whoa. This will get a little tight right here with that lap car down on the inside.
Squeezes through. 9 laps to go.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Strimmy is putting the heat on the 21 car up here of Kevin Harvick.
Third place battle. The leader, Greg Biffle, getting away, and Elliott Sadler about 7/10 in front of Harvick, who now gets a mirror full. Here comes Hamlin underneath his teammate Yaley, boxing out the 8 of Truex.
Yeah, JJ has just been sliding back here. He's just out of grip, and he just kind of has to move over right now.
Look at this battle here. I mean, as you mentioned, Mike, all these cars are battling for position.
And the 8 car.
And Barrett just got back past Truex again. That'll shake things up with 7 to go. Strimmy is right there, right on the bumper of the 21 for third place.
And he's got him right there. He made a great move on the outside. And again, the lap car got in the way of Kevin Harvick. Opened the door for Strimmy, and through he went.
Yeah, use Steve Grissom as a pick to pin Harvick down there. Nice move by Strimmy.
And just drives away from Kevin Harvick now. But one thing I did notice last time David Strimmy drove off into turn 3, he is using those brakes right now.
Oh, yeah, now's the time to use them up.
Truex gets past Barrett again, and here's what happened a few laps ago to the 8th.
Oh, he had nowhere to go. He tried to make a lane that wasn't there.
There was room down there, but so was that slow car of Reeve Sorensen, so that was a no-win move.
And he's done a bunch of damage to the right front fender as well, and so now he's really hurt.
Carl Edwards in the 60 car. He just goes by J.J. Yaley in the 18. He's in the top 10 now. In fact, he's up to the 8th position. Looking for another top 10 finish here in 2005. Greg Biffle, our leader right now. And Mike, you talked about him early. I'm going to give a call to Curtis Davis in that 0 car. Had a good qualifying run today. I know we've had a lot of cautions, but right now with 4 laps to go, he's still on the lead lap. About to be lap, but still on the lead lap.
You know what? David Strimmy's going to catch Elliott Sadler the way he's going.
What's all that smoke from? Hard to tell.
There's Sadler right up ahead of Strimmy, and he is catching him at a high rate of speed.
Meanwhile, Hamlin and Truex side by side for 10th.
Martin Truex Jr., the 8 car, a lot like Carl Edwards. They are definitely reaping the benefits of those fresher tires now.
He had a tire rub on the right front there after that contact he made, but it looks like it's corrected itself at this point anyway.
And it'll be 2 laps to go for Greg Biffle next time by with a 2.3 second lead. A lot of changes in the top 10 behind him. But he and Elliott Sadler.
2 to go. You got the 32 slow on the bottom down here in hole. 2 to go.
Looking for a 1-2 finish for Ford.
And looking to become the first repeat winner in the Busch Series race at Phoenix.
And it never fails. I mean, the man spun out in the first 10 laps of the race. He's in big trouble, and here he is going to win the race.
He spins out. It turns out to be the best thing that can happen for him because it lays out his strategy for the rest of the way.
Yeah. And they did catch the caution just right, which tonight there were multi chances of that.
White flag.
White flag, but white flag. Don't need to pass somebody else. Nice and smooth one more time.
Best battle is for 6th. Joe Nemechek, Michael Waltrip, while Truex and Yaley and Hamlin and Barrett from 10th on back.
Nice job tonight, guys.
I would say so.
Yeah, you didn't do bad yourself there either, Biff. Nice job on your part.
From bringing out the first caution to driving to victory lane, Greg Biffle does it. There is Elliott Sadler 2nd, David Strimmy 3rd, Harvick 4th. And look at this race for 15th. That's Paul Menard and Kenny Wallace. Trade paint and sheet metal all the way to the line.
Paul Menard wins the battle with those 4 fresh tires. Now this team right here, this is Bruco Motorsports. This was the 2017 from last year. They've not been to victory lane since 2003 Kansas, so a long dry spell for this race team.
That is the first Busch Series win for Biffle in 2005. He last won Labor Day weekend in California. He gets his 17th career Busch Series victory. 6 top 10 finishes in 7 races this year. Coming off a runner-up finish in Texas. Greg Biffle, your winner under the full moon on Friday night.
NASCAR on FX is brought to you by the new Stacker 2 XPLC. If you like the original Stacker 2, you're going to love the new Stacker 2 XPLC. By Reese's Fast Break and by Nextel.
Thanks for staying with us here on FX. It's all over in Phoenix. Full moon racing on a Friday night. Greg Biffle wins. Here is the Win Fuel Edge. After bringing out the first caution on lap 8, taking the lead on lap 45 and coming back to lead the most laps in this race, 112, and continuing to sizzle, coming off his win in the Cup race at Texas Motor Speedway last weekend. Elliott Sadler finishing second, David Stremme third. As we approach midnight on the East Coast in Victory Lane, Jeannie Zalasko is down there with Mr. Biffle.
Where April showers will probably bring more success for Mr. Biffle. The high fives all around. I'm confused here. A lap 9 spin. What are you doing in Victory Lane tonight?
I had the car a little bit too loose. I like to drive a loose race car, but not quite that loose. I can't say enough about all these guys that put this deal together. Bruco Motorsports and Clarence and all those guys giving me an opportunity to drive their cars. This is great. And Newt Moore's the crew chief. And first time I got this deal, first-time sponsors. We got Hinkle Corporation on the car this week. You know, duct tape and Loctite and all those products, and a win. You know, and I had Post-it notes in California and a win. So I'm just excited for this team, these Bruco guys. They worked really hard, and I had a good car tonight.
But you come into Phoenix, you're tied for the lead in top 5s, top 10. So I'm assuming maybe you just got a little bored. So that's why you decided to make it exciting and stretch the tires and the fuel as far as possible.
Yeah, it is. You know, with all those caution flags, I can't believe how many caution flags were tonight. And, you know, tires weren't falling off. This new Goodyear tires was awesome. And, you know, Ford has got behind this program so well. And, you know, we just decided to stay out. And, you know, I got off sequence because of the spin. But then we put ourselves in a position that it was going to work for us. And I'm excited. Second last week and a win this week. Can't be better.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Congratulations. 6 days. You got a Cup win and a Busch win. Not too bad. Steve?
Thanks, Jeannie. Elliott Sadler finished second. And, Elliott, I heard you. I heard Todd Parrott. I heard Rick Wren. Everybody said, hard work. Well done.
My guys worked their butts off yesterday. We came here with one setup. When we got here, we decided to try something else, and it was so hot, and those guys changed it all the way over and just kept digging and digging and digging and digging. And I'm so proud of my City Financial guys. It's a brand-new team, brand-new race car, never tested. To go to Texas and finish 5th and come here and finish 2nd, I think our team's getting better by the week.
Good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Let's go to Dick.
With David Stremme, who equaled his season best finish of a 3rd spot. I only saw one dent on your car. How many jingles were you in tonight?
Well, in that front stretch accident, I didn't really know what happened. When I was up in the front of the race early on, the restarts were pretty crazy, so I figured if I'm in the back, I need to take it easy. But I'm real proud of all my Navy guys. This was a brand new car, and we bring it here and to perform like we did today. All the guys in the shop and everybody is doing a really great job. They have that Navy never quit attitude, so I'm really proud of all of them because we've had a couple tough weeks, and we had that flat tire last week at Texas and went from 12th to 18th. So, again, I'm real proud of everybody.
Congratulations on a big night. Mike?
Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart 4th and 5th. What a big bounce back from that early pit road miscue.
Yeah, that was my stupid there. We just made a mistake and came down pit road and not paying attention, I guess. Didn't ever see a flag, or I was just off in La La Land. But we had a good enough Reese's Chevrolet to get back up there. And, you know, the track position that we didn't gain on the racetrack, Rick gained back in the pits, and the guys in the pits did awesome tonight. So it was a good night for the Reese's team.
And Delaney's car did pretty good as well. Tony Stewart, how was your car at the end?
No, I was a little bit loose off and a little bit tight in the center, but these guys did such a good job tonight. Busch Hilton and all these guys on the Mr. Clean Pro Series Auto Dry Car Wash team, they did an awesome job, and whatever Kevin Harvick's pointing to here, so he's probably pointing to himself, but everybody knows it's his name that's on the team.
Still in La La Land.
Yeah, and he's still in denial, too, that his wife owns the race car.
I'm going to go get some a steak with some smoked barbecue sauce. That's what I'm going to do.
You do have your own barbecue sauce now.
We're so happy Delana did such a good job today. We're going to let her cook for us, and we're going to use my barbecue sauce.
Mike.
Well, a great night for them, but what about more than half the field? 24 cars of 43 starters were involved in full moon Friday night fracas of one type or another, and a lot of these cars ended up on the lead lap.
Oh, yeah, they just kept on ticking, but, man, it was a wild night, I tell you that.
On the lead lap, a lot of those cars ended up in the top 5, including our winner, Greg Biffle, who won the race right there.
I'm pretty impressed with Stremme. That's the only Dodge in, like, the top 25.
Great run for David Stremme. 14 caution flags. That tied up what happened at Bristol for the most this season, and not a lot of changes there in the top 10. So we'll look forward to tomorrow night on Fox with the next Silco cars and turn things over to Chris and Jeff to lock the door and say goodnight.
All right, thanks. Carl Edwards' largest lead of the season so far. 3 rookies in the top 6 in points. And we had 4 of the top 10 that were involved in accidents tonight. And Jeff Hammond already has some of that smoked barbecue sauce. Tony Stewart will join us on the pre-race show tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern as we get ready to go.
Another exciting night of racing. We'll get ready to come back here tomorrow night, Chris. I guarantee you, everybody who was here tonight, all the crew chiefs, all the drivers that raced in the race, they'll be talking about how things went here during the course of the evening. And a lot of them will be anticipating what they need to do to their race car when they get ready to drop the green flag tomorrow night.
Greg Biffle, winner tonight, will try to win back-to-back races for the first time in his career on the Cup level. Already a couple of wins this season, and the only driver to win more than one Phoenix Busch Series race as he captures this. Coming on FX, you'll see most of you on the East Coast, the Shield, and on the West Coast, that animated comedy, King of the Hill. By the way, Nextel Cup drivers, you're on the clock officially, because on the East Coast later today, right? It's Saturday night. So it's Saturday on the East Coast
already.
And Fox, FX, and Speed's coverage of NASCAR will continue tomorrow with NASCAR This Morning on Speed. That'll take you up to the Subway Fresh 500 on Fox. Our pre-race show will go 10 laps with Jimmy Johnson, our points leader. We'll talk with Tony Stewart. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is trying to win his 3rd straight race in Phoenix. And then, of course, across the Fox family of networks, NASCAR Victory Lane wraps things up.
Hey, I was getting ready to say, man, normally you say turn out the light, the party's over. Hey, but turn out the light, the party's getting ready to begin.
Just getting cranked up. Will Jr. with his 3rd straight. Can Jeff Gordon win from the pole? What about Jimmy Johnson? Can he score his 14th straight top 10 finish? Everybody check your circuit breaker. We'll see you tomorrow night on Fox, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific from the desert. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.